Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to episode 75 of The Angry Chicken. Even though I know Patrick gets really mad when I say welcome back to the episode number because he says that episode number only ever happens once, so why are you welcoming people back? But I don't care. Hi, Patrick. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined as always by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. How you guys doing tonight?
Fantastico.
Doing good.
Everyone...
I finally beat the game. I've
Hooray!
Oh,
beat it.
So the credits rolled and
credits rolled.
You sealed,
Princess came out, and I married the princess or whatever.
Sealed back in the nether
Is there a
zone.
secret unicorn level?
No, actually, they didn't put one in, but they said next time. You know, or Hearthstone 2. We'll get the secret.
Hearthstone 2.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, so you know, some people might think rank 1 legend is beating the game. Some people might think 12 wins in arena, that's beating the game. Those don't mean anything, you guys. That's all just whatever. That's
I
just
think I know what
accolades.
this is now.
Yeah, no, I actually beat the game. I was trying to summon Voltron using Mimiron's head. Instead, I summoned something so much greater, so much sweeter, and that is I finally got 3 boots on the Pandaria level.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
I'm serious. 50-50. But when you get the first boot, the pressure's on, right? And luckily, the first boot happened on like turn 1. So I was like, I got time. We're gonna go for this. Second boot happened almost immediately. Third boot was super try hard mode initiated, and I started roping every turn because I needed as much time to put all the APM I could, and the mechanics is really difficult at that point because I'm sure there's like I happened to be unlucky and I had north and south boots, and if I'd had one of the north or south ones open, I could have quickly like gone back and forth. I had to go across the 2 existing boots to get to the western boot spot. Yes, so I clenched my butt cheeks and went to work. And finally got the 3rd boot. Yep, finally got that 3rd boot.
I sincerely apologize, guys. I did not do a proper job of introing the show. What I meant to say is I am here with Jocelyn Moffat, and joining us for our interview today is the first person to get 3 boots.
Yes. The first man to beat Hearthstone in its entirety. So yeah, game over.
3 boot hype.
Bring on a new challenge, Brode.
Now,
not enough for me.
Now, Willie Dills, what was your strategy for getting a solid 3 boots?
Well, I trained hard, and I took a lot of performance-enhancing drugs. A little bit more of that.
And then
I just clicked my little fingers as fast as they could fly.
Now, do you expect to be getting lots of offers from multiple pro teams?
Oh no, yeah, I've been signed to Nylum. They picked me up. I'm a new member of the team. I'm going to be in the next Pinnacle boot. We just all get together and we just click and we just try to get the boot faster than the other guy. Nobody cares about the score of the game.
I hope I mean the words that are about to leave my mouth. I hope in the deepest regions of my soul that this is someone's very first time tuning into this show. And they're just...
Look, you thought we were the casual Hearthstone podcast? No. We're hardcore, man. We go for 3 boots, man. Don't stop at 1 or 2. Got to get that
All
3rd. Yeah. All I'm saying is their next map they give us better have a 4 boot option out there because 3 boots too easy. It used to be 9 wins in arena. Now it's 12. Well, we need 4 boots now. Give us a new challenge, guys. Team 5.
Awesome. Well, that said, congratulations. Doesn't want to take anything away from you. But we got a lot to talk about tonight, so let's get right into it. This week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
You can submit stories like Dill's getting 3 boots over at tecpodcast.reddit.com. Vote them up. Obviously, the big news this week is, Dill's 3 boots. But besides that, is Blackrock Mountain coming out this Thursday.
Yeah. I used to be excited about that, but,
Well, now
I'll never ever get to this heights in my life ever again. I might as well just call it quits.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Blackrock Mountain coming out.
No, still talking about the boot. You can't take the boot away from me ever. The triple boot.
He's never gonna come down from his boot high.
Nope.
As a wonderful,
I'm not even going to chase the boot dragon for the rest of my life. That's what's going to happen, actually.
as a wonderful poet from California once said, "Give them the boot."
Yes, correct.
Dills knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, I was like,
Correct.
It's a punk rock
Music
reference.
thing.
Anyway, yeah.
I was actually listening to Rancid at the time, I'm pretty sure.
If it was Roots and Radicals, then it was
I
meant to
quickly
be.
switched it to Beyonce Bootylicious right afterwards.
Well,
because
that
had to
is the
celebrate.
3-boot playlist. It's Roots and Radicals followed by Bootylicious.
Bootylicious, yeah.
And then it would be
And then you put on some Bootsy Collins right after.
done.
Yeah.
Over and done with DJ Dillsy Jeff right here.
Yep.
Keeping it real. So yeah, if you are listening to the show via podcast format, you have at most 1 day left to make your pre-order and get your card back for Blackrock Mountain because it comes out Thursday. So rush, run, do not walk. I don't care if you're holding scissors. Get that card back. Kids, don't run with scissors, and don't tell your parents that this guy on the podcast named Garrett
This
has
podcast
stupid
told me
hair,
I could.
told you to run with scissors. And you should also probably exclude Dills' previous joke about performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah. I mean, they
knocking
work,
it out of the
but
park
don't do
for
them.
kitties today.
Dills, come on.
I mean, they totally work. Just don't do it. guys.
Just stop it. Stop it. Send emails to Dills, please. Also this week, probably the biggest tournament was obviously the Angry Chicken Invitational.
Obviously.
Congrats to Bad Year Blimp, aka his name is Garrett. Everyone spelled correctly. Who is the angriest chicken? Huzzah! So congratulations to him for winning the first Angriest Chicken Open. But if you weren't awesome enough to watch that tournament, probably the tournament you watched this weekend was the Viagame House Cup 2. It was this past weekend in Stockholm, Sweden. Had 16 players competing for $25,000 and 230 Hearthstone World Championship points. Tiddler, Celestial, and Tice took third and fourth place. Second place went to, am I pronouncing this right? Roger? Is it just Roger? Is there
I think it's just Roger.
Or,
yeah.
or is am I about to get bombarded by chat rooms saying, I know it looks like Roger, but it's actually Roger?
No. He's I think Chinese, or I can't remember exactly what region he's from. He's an Asian guy though, with the name Roger.
Gotcha. He would be.
That's his gamer tag, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I didn't.
He is from Taiwan.
Okay, Taiwanese. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. And then Denmark player Hoej is how I'm going to choose to pronounce that. Won first place, $10,000 and 100 Hearthstone World Championship points.
I believe he was a qualifier as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I had never heard of the guy. There's plenty of guys that we all know and everything, and then they had a few qualifiers come in too.
Yes, actually both of them, Hoej and Roger, both qualified through the second qualifier.
Yeah, so really fantastic players, and it's cool to see them go through. And it just kind of goes to show, like, if we can get some more unknown names in there, there's some really good players that we don't know about, and it'd be cool to see them. So he got a little heat though. I don't know if you guys kept up on this.
Yeah, I did see this.
He got some heat because he was using a lot of emotes throughout the games, and doing things like hello, like after playing some cool combo or whatever. And people were getting kind of pissed because they're saying, oh, that's BM and you shouldn't do this at a big tournament. And he wrote a post about it, and I'm on his side about this, where when you're playing a competitive game, he's not hurting anyone's feelings. As much as people might think these other guys, their feelings are getting hurt because he's BMing with these emotes. What he's trying to do is get a competitive advantage over the other player by playing mind games, essentially. And that's totally within the rules. There's nothing against doing that. It's like a poker player asking a question at the poker table, or wearing sunglasses, or whatever. You do all the little things that you think might give you a competitive advantage.
Well, I mean, it's a little more like if you wore sunglasses that had disco lights in them that were flaring constantly.
Not quite. No, because okay, so there's guys who get a bad rap in the poker world because they like berate other players or something like that. But someone who talks a lot at the table, like people generally think, oh, that guy's just doing what he can to kind of get in the other player's head. There's guys like Mike the Mouth Matisow, if you're familiar with poker, who kind of yells and talks all the time, annoys people. And then there's like Phil Hellmuth, who like actually tells people that they suck. And there's a difference between the two. Nobody hates the first guy because it's whatever. He's just talking, The second guy people hate. In Hearthstone, you can't really be that mean with the emotes, so I don't see any problem in doing it. And then they could just squelch him if they.
I was gonna say they do also have the option to squelch.
Right, they can squelch. I mean, I see both sides of it. I think it's absurd to get that upset over it. It's something that's built into the game, and if it was a problem, Blizzard wouldn't let us do it in the first place.
Yeah.
I always defer to whatever the designers allow us to do. If we're not actually hacking the game, then you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, then what's the problem? Like, it's like, are we going to get mad at players for sitting there on their mulligan phase and waiting until the timer goes out? They're trying to get every little bit of advantage they can because there's $10,000 for first place.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Like,
yeah.
Again, I don't know. I don't see the big problem. Like, let him do whatever he wants to do to try to get, and it's not a big advantage, really.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, as a spectator, it annoys the shit out of me watching it, so I would prefer that the other player squelches them. But I mean, whatever. It's not that you shouldn't be disqualified for it, and I don't care enough to get on Reddit and start a flame thread.
Sure. Yeah. It basically did turn into that, though. Reddit loves to get the pitchbacks out. And,
yeah, I was gonna say they love any kind of drama over there, and I did read the post, and I absolutely agree with everything that he said. I think it's actually a different way to look at it because coming from the background of like I've never BM, never emote really, other than like, you know, hello at the beginning and well played at the end, and that's the extent of what I do. I think it was really interesting to hear him talk about how it's actually a tool that he uses to get into his opponent's head, not from a like BM type standpoint, but just from like, okay, if he's currently thinking or I see him doing math, I'm going to emote now. You know, there's so much more thought that goes into it than just straight up, I'm going to be annoying. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a really, really interesting post.
But I mean, I have played games where the other guy emotes something and kind of tips their hand a little bit. Like they say well played or something like that, and I go, oh, this guy assumes I have lethal, and I know that means he probably doesn't have something like a taunt or something from it. Like there's little things you can infer from it, and what he's trying to do was kind of make the other player just kind of think twice about like what does that mean? What did the thing he just said mean? Like does he think he's about to lose? Does he think and once the guy starts thinking about something besides the most optimal play for that turn, maybe you get him to make a small mistake. And that's really what he was doing. And it's fine. It's like every little competitive advantage you can get, as long as it's within the rules, I don't see any problem with. So,
and someone that actually, a few people in the chat room are saying, well played is BMing. I'm like, but I mean it that way. It's like my GG at the end. Like, I mean, it's the end. I do it no matter who wins, who loses. I say, yeah, you know what? Well played. Like, cheers.
I generally
maybe
don't.
I'm just too nice. Like, maybe I am unconsciously pissing off like every single player I face.
I think it's getting a little sensitive to call everything BM. It's like as long as you use the emotes, it's BMing somehow. It's like, no, come on.
Yeah, how dare you use a feature put in the game? No,
what are we allowed to do?
That point gets it gets absurd. And it was originally put in the game for the exact express purpose of having a nice way to end the game. Because if you look at games like StarCraft, Dota 2, League of Legends, you're always going to see GLHF and GG at the beginning and end of games.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's considered the proper etiquette.
By the way, BM, for people who don't know what that means, because we say that all the time, is bad-mannered.
Oh, I thought it had something to do with your bowels.
Yeah, well, you know. That's
what I thought for the longest time. I'm like,
or beautiful Masan. That's the other thing. But no, it's just bad manners is essentially what it means. But it's gotten to the point now where I think we can all just kind of let that whole thing go. When there's competitive players playing a competitive tournament, just whatever. Let them do whatever they do. It's fine. There's so much worse going on in sports and stuff like that I don't think we need to get
people emote.
we don't need to let this upset us. I think we can all just sit back and watch the games and just be fine with it. So, yeah. Settle down. Try to just enjoy yourself, everybody. It's much more fun that way.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
Dill's mantra now.
Yep.
Much more fun.
Just compare it to the NFL. If this is the issues we're having, we're in a good place.
Yeah, seriously, this is some serious first world problems where you're like, oh, that guy said well met. Oh, I'm so angry.
Uther's voice just gets to me, guys. If it was garages, I'd be totally fine. But something about just the way Uther says well met, I can't stand it.
Can't take it. Yeah. There's even other things that they could do in the game that would piss me off more than that, which is like swinging the little pointer around or something with a spell and pretending to do like that kind of stuff. I could see.
The thing that drives me nuts, and I haven't seen it in a while in tournaments, but when if if it's a LAN event and they're doing a direct feed from the computers that the players are playing at, and the players do the quick scan across the cards over and over and over and over and over again, that drives me up a complete and total wall.
So now we know how to totally freak
because I can't.
There's always an option.
Because I
stop looking at their cards. That's your option.
But I want to see what's in their hand, and the dude's giving me like a faux epileptic seizure.
Yeah, I do that though too, but that's just really like a nervous thing. I just kind of swoop my mouse over my cards because it's just like as I'm thinking about my turn, I just kind of do it.
Yeah,
totally without malice. Just swooping my mouse over my cards.
I think I do it in the first, like while I'm waiting for the first turn to start. I just kind of flick.
You know what it's like? It's like shuffling in a Magic tournament or something. Like it's what you can do, like manipulate your cards in some way.
Yeah, I know, and I'm a super nervous shuffler in physical Magic.
You sit there when you're not even playing Magic, when we're just on Skype calls shuffling your freaking Magic cards.
That's because I'm terrible at shuffling, so I just want to do it more and more and more and more and more and get better at it.
There you go.
But anyways.
So back off Hoej, everybody. All right.
Yeah.
Indeed. And congrats to him.
Congrats.
Who, regardless of how much he enjoys right-clicking on his hero and clicking buttons, still relative unknown. Won $10,000, a buttload of World Championship points. I mean, it's a great story. This is the kind of stuff we want to see. New players.
Yeah.
And isn't like no offense to the players that seem to constantly win. Like, we wouldn't really be having a discussion right now if Firebat won. It'd be like, oh, of course he won. He's Firebat. But I don't know. I love hearing about new players winning. So
yeah, it was cool.
It's good stuff. In a kind of small little bit news, Warsong Commander fix is coming with Blackrock Mountain this week. So this came up on Ixar's Hearthstone stream.
Yeah, it was Robert Wing, Zariah.
Well, not Ixar's, but the Hearthstone stream.
And then they were playing Ixar.
Yes.
Right? Ixar was not on, like, we couldn't see his face or anything.
Right.
But he was Robert's opponent. And he played a Grim Patron.
Well, it's hard to get a camera on him when he's floating in, like, Hearthstone heaven because he's the god of Hearthstone. I don't know if you guys have ever played Ixar.
Did Robert win a game? I think he won one game.
I didn't see all of them.
I
didn't see the entire stream because I had to deal with some work stuff. Came up, I think I saw the first 2 games.
Yeah,
but
so they did win. I think they won a shaman game where they were crackled face or something like that for the win.
No, never mind. I did see that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
How could you forget a crackle play?
How could I? Well, it's because it didn't. You know why I forgot? Because it didn't matter. It was lethal no matter what crackle rolled.
That's actually true. He was actually considering trading, and chat was going nuts. It was hilarious. So he played. Ixar was playing a deck with Grim Patron, which I found out from Chalky watching his and That's Admirable and ECOP, that he calls it Grim Patron. So now I'm just going to call it Grim Patron from here on out.
Guard's not even out yet, and Dills is already calling it by the wrong freaking name.
So Grim Patron, as all you guys remember, we talked about. It's the one where if it takes damage but doesn't die, it duplicates itself. He had a Warsong Commander on board, and the duplicated version that got summoned had charge. So that's like some internal build that's not out. It's not in production yet.
Well, clearly because they had all of the Blackrock Mountain cards to play with.
Yes. But so that meant to me and everybody watching that, oh my god, that means that they've put in the bug fix as well into this new build. So pretty exciting stuff, and that means we may see some fun aggro warrior come back at some point, which that
was a long time coming.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Seriously.
That's been broken for a while.
Yeah, it must have just been a really complicated code fix. And I've actually heard people talk about the way they initially coded up the game. There might have to be some sort of a rewrite at some point, because it seems like there's some issues that crop up that aren't easy fixes for them. And it might mean that, as they build the game, and a lot of people who actually build games might know more about this, but as you build a game, you may start in one place and then realize later there's a much more efficient way to do the things that you're doing. But to actually fix it means going back and rewriting a bunch of stuff. So then you have to start
Isn't that what they just had to do with Warcraft? Wasn't that this past expansion where they basically redid the whole back end of the game?
They did a lot, yeah.
Well,
I don't know if they did the entire.
They did the big stat squish, which was a huge thing because everything was affected.
Yeah, but I thought they had a whole new type of code or something.
Well, there was a lot of changes to just kind of the engine, and because the graphical change was all going into and stuff like that. But I'm not an engineer, so I can't speak to it with any amount of expertise. But I work with a lot of engineers, and sometimes there's something that comes up, and they're like, I want to fix it, but to be quite honest with you, the amount of time it's going to take to fix isn't worth how bad this problem is, and so we have to put it off, and that's probably what was going on here. Like, how many people does this affect? How much is this worth it? And then you kind of have to decide, make a decision there. Like,
that sounds like every conversation I have with our buddy Jarek from Hearthhead.
Sure.
He's like, oh, there's so many things I want to do, but I'm doing these so many things right now, so I can't do those other so many things.
But I'm a single dude trying to just do this by myself, and I can't do it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I work at a company that has 5 people working for it, and when we want to put out a feature, we have to really think about, well, how much work can us 5 guys do? Like, it's not much.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Brode also hit the Twitter this week and talked quite a bit about his thoughts on hiding mulligans. This all spurred from a Twitter user @TheThurk who asked about the hiding mulligan phase, and Ben Brode said that ideally they would like to hide it. Quote, but it is somewhat challenging and low impact for most players.
There you go. This is a prime example of this that we just talked about.
Yeah. Wonderful segue that I didn't take advantage of. Speaking of engineering issues and changing things that are going to take way more time than it's actually worth, is how I should have said.
Very well done.
Discussion.
Oh, well. Better late than never, man. It's cool.
Brode also went on to say low impact for most players means nothing when it harms high-level play. This is the response.
This is Thurk's response to him.
My mistake. Yeah, this is Thurk's response. He said low impact for most players means nothing when it harms high-level play and has literally no downside from implementing for others, to which Ben replied, what I meant is that we agree that it should change, just a matter of figuring out how to prioritize it.
Yeah. So I really like that he came out and said, yeah, we agree this should change, because anybody who watches Hearthstone tournaments, it is really annoying to watch the players just sit there and wait for they just wait for the timer to click down, right?
No, agreed.
And fine, the casters have more time to talk or whatever, but it just slows everything down. And it's already a fairly slow game because all the players kind of wait for the rope to make sure that they think through every single possible permutation of their turn. And, so for most players, a huge populace of the players, no one gives a crap. No one's watching the other guy's mulligan. But when you're talking about high-level Hearthstone, they are doing it, and it's just like if you compare it to like Magic, I know that you mulligan, but I don't know that you mulliganed 3 of the 7 cards, right? Which then I can infer what those other 4 might be, and that's the way it works in Hearthstone. So because of that fact, I think it really should be something that you just hide.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you get into these. I think on the Viagame they were calling it the Mexican standoff, which is like at every single turn it was happening. And
cue the whistle from the good, the bad, and the ugly, and
yeah, exactly.
Wait for multiple tumbleweeds to blow by.
Mm-hmm. And it's really not exciting for people to watch.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That being said, I love Ben's second response to Thurk's kind of aggressive follow up.
Yeah, because it's like, aggressive.
Can we get anyone here watch Key and Peele? Can we get Ben Brode an anger translator? Because I read his response and all I hear is, "Dude, chill the f out."
Yeah, it's fine, man. I agreed with you, and now you're getting more pissed at me. Settle down.
You just need to chill.
But this is the proper way to respond. But it definitely has the undertones where it's like, all right, buddy, we get it, man.
We give Hearthstone Reddit so much crap on the show sometimes, and I feel like we do need to make it even. It's not just Hearthstone Reddit; it's pretty much all gaming Reddits. And really, what we're saying is, oh, internet.
Yes,
that's just anonymity.
So much good can come out of it, and yet so much annoying. People being basically hard-headed and aggressive, and that's part of the deal. But whatever. Ben seems to handle it very well, and he's been super active on Twitter today. I don't know if you guys were keeping up with his stuff, but lots and lots of clarifications on how some of the new cards work, which we're about to get to pretty soon. So
yes.
I'm glad that he's like that. He's so as transparent as he could be.
Thank you, aggressive people of the internet, for being the affliction T-shirt of the internet. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we have many, 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 many cards to discuss for this week's strategy segment.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
We're going to try doing something tonight that we haven't done before because a bunch of cards were released or revealed today, 14 in fact, and then 5 more had been revealed since we last spoke. So we're going to try and talk about 19 cards as quickly as we can so that next week we can just talk about the game. and how it's being affected by said new cards. And if you would like to hear us discuss all of the cards, episodes 73, 72, and 71 cover the rest of the Blackrock Mountain reveals. So go check that out. And also head over to hearthhead.com where I rambled on incessantly about last week's 5 revealed cards if you want to hear more about my thoughts. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's start off with the 5 cards that were announced last week that we have yet to have a chance to discuss. Shall we?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. So first up, the Blackwing Corruptor, who might be my favorite art this entire set.
Really?
And I just realized I totally messed up the overlay. So video, just ignore this while we pretend like nothing's happening so the audio-only listeners aren't confused.
Giant Jocelyn.
Giant Jocelyn, yeah. This is what happens when I do a tournament before the show.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not
Tough
you.
to do all the things, you know.
Yeah. So, anyways, what do you guys think of Blackwing Corruptor? He is a 5-mana common minion, 5 attack, 4 health, battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage.
It's a good card for a dragon deck.
Yeah, it's very, very close to the mage. I'm totally blanking. I'm probably going to blank a lot in the next hour, guys. I'm sorry.
It's a mini fire.
Blast mage, the blast mage.
What it is. Yeah. I'd say it's closer to fire elemental though, because it's literally doing the same thing that fire elemental does. But it's one mana cheaper, and it has 1 stat less on each thing. So instead of a 6 mana 5/6 or 6/5, it's a 5 mana 5/4. So it's literally just like 1 mana cheaper fire elemental. But you have to have a dragon. So you'll never play this unless you're a deck that has dragons. If you do have dragons, I kind of think it's like an auto include in the 5 spot. However, there's a lot of really good cards in the 5 slot, and that means you're sacrificing something. Like you're sacrificing like Sludge Belcher or something, or Loatheb. So I think it's a choice, but I think it's gonna be in most dragon decks.
Well, and this also has the somewhat of a drawback that we see in, I think, 2 or 3 that were revealed today, which is that if you're holding a dragon part of the battle cry, being that like basically you're giving your opponent information that you have a dragon in your hand, and there aren't that many dragons. There's more than there were prior to Blackrock, obviously, but there's still not that many dragons that you could probably figure out what your opponent has in the hand if they play one of the cards that says, activated by a dragon. So you are giving up that little bit of information, and I think probably at lower levels it's not going to have that big of an impact, but I think at higher level play, then we probably won't see this card or any of those kind of cards.
I think if dragon decks become a thing, you will. I think you'll definitely see this one.
Yeah, you think so?
I think the battle cry is worth letting them know that you have a dragon, because if they start playing any dragon-centric cards, then you're like, okay, I assume he has dragons. Like I don't think at turn 5 you're giving away too much information by saying I have dragons in my hand. Like I think you'll know before then. Like there's some 3 mana dragon cards and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think you'll be able to identify a dragon deck, but I still think knowing that your opponent has a dragon in hand would probably change some of the plays that you're going to see, because if you know really, really early on, like say there's that priest card that if you have a dragon in hand, it does something turn 1, right? So I think like if you know, yeah, you get a 2/3. So I think if you do that like really early on and then you don't play a dragon for a really long time, that tells me like, oh, I know you have one, you're not playing it. It's probably, Ysera or, one of the other bigger dragons. So I don't know, you might hold on to something like to removal that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Possibly.
That's true, but when you also think of the way the meta tends to kind of react in this game, when you go up against a rogue right now, you just assume it's oil rogue.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think there's. I don't think knowing a dragon is in hand is, because I think there's so many cards that work that way, because the play you make gives it away or whatever. Like, oh, I know he has a flame strike, or oh, I know he has what like that. I don't think that like you're gonna not play this card because of that thing. I don't like you're playing a dragon deck. You need the cards that are really strong because of the dragons, right? And this is really strong because of a dragon in your hand. So like, doing 3 damage to something on turn 6 can sometimes, like, I don't know if Gary, you play a lot of Shaman. I don't know if you've run into this where the Fire Elemental doesn't have a target on turn 6 all the time.
Yes, no, that's absolutely the case, and you just have to hit them face and you just feel bad.
Yeah. because you're like, oh, well, he has Lotheb on board. Like, I can't kill Lotheb with the Fire Elemental. But on turn 5, there's probably going to be a lot of things you can kill. And, it's only one turn earlier, but it still makes a big difference, I think. So,
no, I think this is
too strong of a card.
I think this is a classic case of Dills and Garrett completely disagreeing with Jocelyn, unfortunately.
I don't think I completely disagree. I think she has a valid point. I'm just saying I don't think that knowing you have a dragon is enough of a deterrent to play a really strong card. Like, I don't see it being a reason to not play this card.
Stop defending it, Dills. I'm just trying to poke the haters right now really bad. I'm just trying to rile them up.
I think it's just an inherent drawback.
I think it's a good card. It does have a drawback that I think deserves mention.
Yeah, but I think that's an inherent drawback of the dragon deck. Like, just because of the way it works, I don't think there's a way to play around letting your opponent know you have or do not have a dragon in your hand. Like, if you decide to play a dragon deck, you're kind of just saying, all right, I'm giving some information away.
Yeah, but at the end of these reveals, I feel like there is enough dragons that you're still not going to be 100% sure.
Yeah, or what exact dragon it is. Or
maybe you had a smaller dragon and the curve just never worked out in your favor and you kept drawing into better plays for the curve that would have normally come out, or it's better to keep it in hand to activate abilities like this rather than actually playing it on the board.
If you're playing against a dragon deck, whether they have a dragon or not, I think you're holding on to Big Game Hunter until you see some sort of an 8/8 or 9/9 or something. Like, you're not going to just drop your removal because they go turn 5, play this card without using the battle cry. You're not going to be like, okay, cool, I don't have to keep this Big Game Hunter back anymore. Like, you're going to need your big removal for something good, and you're going to hold on to it for that.
It's also, this is like something we really haven't discussed, like the kind of, if we were talking about Magic, we'd be talking about this almost like a tribe. Like, we talk about tribal themed deck. It's not really a word that's taken off in Hearthstone at all, but all it is like a common theme. Like, it's all of the same race or something. You can have a Minotaur tribe or something like that. Mm-hmm. So if you think of mech like that, if you think of mech as an overarching theme, how do the mechs all synergize together? They all synergize by actually being on the board together. And the interesting thing about dragons is they actually seem to make other cards better by not being played.
Yeah, just being in your hand, which is really bizarre because we're going to get to this in some other things too, where, like, I don't think the priest card is that good, even though it looks really good, because it's going to make you keep a high-costed card in your hand at the beginning so you can play a really strong turn 1 play, and then you're like, well, now my curve sucks because I kept this 7-cost dragon in my hand.
Yes, but you're a priest, and if that thing doesn't die, you can just keep healing it up.
Yeah, that's true. Your turn 2 could just be heal it. So
yeah. But we'll talk about that later, because I have points there too. I have points.
So many permutations to this dragon thing that we're not going to know the ins and outs of it until we can play these decks.
Absolutely. And I don't mean, like I said, it makes a lot of cards better when you don't play the dragons. It's not like the dragons make other dragons better. It's mostly other non-dragons cards that are made better by not playing the dragons. Red, Black Hand, Blackwing Corruptor, etc. Anyways, I kind of disagree with you, Dills, and we can move on to Dragon's Breath, which is the next mage card that was revealed. It's a 5-mana common mage spell, and it reads, deal 4 damage, costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn.
So this is kind of the other mechanic that we saw come in with this expansion or adventure. That's the whole costs 1 less for each minion that died.
I want to coin like a key phrase for it. I want to call it getting berm. Like BRM, because like this is on so many cards. It's like, just berm. Berm.
I know.
Okay, fine.
Nice trying.
Can't let me have it.
It's a weird mechanic, but I think it's a really cool one for certain cards. Mm-hmm. But then a card like this, I feel like doesn't do enough.
No.
Because so if 2 minions die, I have a 3-cost 4 damage spell. That's still not really worth it, and that's going to be kind of tough for me to get to, I think. Because I'd rather probably just play... Like, Frostbolt seems fine, because I can ping next turn or something like that, or Flame Cannon seems fine, because I can just spend 2 on it no matter what, and most of the time I can manipulate the board so that it hits what I want it to hit. To me, this isn't that powerful of a card. So maybe if you're playing a super aggro mage that kind of floods the board, and you just need as many spells that can go to the face as you could possibly get, this card could be pretty good in that kind of deck. But I don't see it being like in all of the mage decks. I think it's an okay card, kind of on the weak side.
Yeah, to me, I look at this and I constructed leaves my head entirely, and I'm like, well, it's removal in an arena run where you didn't get what you wanted.
In arena, I think this card is just like a decent card, and it's a common card too, because it's another spell that can go to the face, obviously, and Mage kind of likes that.
To me, it just makes me happy because it's another common that might take a slot away from a Flame Strike. Like you might get this instead of Flame Strike because it's another common injected into the Mage's card pool, so that excites me.
Or you get this with Flame Strike, and then it's free.
Well, yeah, but then you're talking about like free 4 damage to the face that still costs a card. I don't know, like unless you're killing them with it. I think most of the time what you'll see though is in arena you get a lot more of this kind of trading minions kind of gameplay, and so this card I think will do pretty well in arena because most turns will have a couple of deaths happen, and so it'll be fine. And again, also it could be up against 2 really bad cards, and this card will be okay.
Yeah.
I'd call it slightly above average arena, below average constructed, unless you're playing an aggro mage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amber Fang in the chat room pretty much nailed it on the head, I think, saying that it's the issue with this card is that it's double situational. You have to first get a lot of minions to die, and then you have to have something that you actually want to hit for 4 damage. So
yeah, which is why
usually is face, but
yeah, and that's why the combining it with Flame Strike doesn't even feel that good because like, well, if I'm using a Flame Strike, I want everything on the board to be dead anyway.
Yeah.
And
like and then I'm
said,
hitting face with it.
And if I have to
unless
kill a
you've
minion
got
with
like a
it,
whole bunch of minions and a rag, and then you Flame Strike, and then you get this for free, and you can finish off the rag.
And you can kill the rag. Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, again,
But how often does that come up?
Yeah, if.
And again, it could be
so freaking good in the golden version. So
it's a gorgeous card, really good card art. I mean, not as good as Blackwing Corruptor, but I'm just gonna be championing. I love that card art so much. Anyways, yeah. One of the weaker cards in my Dragon's Breath and Core Rager for me are the 2 cards I'm the least excited about. Mm-hmm. But let's get on to a card I am excited about and seems like everyone else is, which means it'll probably not see any play because we're always wrong. The Volcanic Drake. It's a 6-mana common dragon minion. It has 6 attack, 4 health, and it costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn, aka Burm.
It's not going to catch on, Garrett.
I'm going to keep pushing it until Jocelyn's just like, okay, Garrett, I accept it.
Okay, fine, I Burm.
Well, this card is a dragon, so it gives you your dragon synergy. And yeah, it could be really strong if you can play it on turn 4. It's above average for a 4-drop, right? So if you can get 2 things to die on turn 4 and play this, you're playing an above average 4-drop.
Yeah.
Seems all right to me. 1
trade on turn 4 and this thing's golden.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That being said, it's possible that the 6-cost stuff will be a little bit it'll be a little bit of a cluster because there's some pretty good 6-drops already that you kind of want, things like Sylvanas and stuff, and then there's a 6-drop that we're going to talk about later that I think might be the new best card in the game, and this is also, but you can consider this not a 6-cost card, right? Mm-hmm. When you're building your deck, it's going to count as a 6-drop, but when you're playing the game, it's not going to count as a 6-drop, right? So
yeah, you're looking at this, 5 and below.
Yeah, I would consider this 5 or below.
Yeah, you don't want to pay 6 for this. It's
no. It's below average for 6. I guess it's actually exactly average for 6, except you see that a 5/5 for 6 is below average, and this is a 6/4 that has no other ability. It doesn't do anything when it hits the board, right?
Right.
So it's below average for 6.
Yeah, and 4 health is horrifying. There's so many ways it dies.
Yeah, it dies to everything pretty much. Yeah. There's 3 drops it dies to. So
2 drops if you're running One-Eyed Cheat.
yeah. For all those one-eyed cheats. Well, they do come out of it dies to Piloted Shredder. That's a super common card.
Well, that's the other thing.
It will die to, and then they will still have a minion, and you will not have a minion.
The piloted cards also make me think of bizarre dream plays with this, where you trade for something with your Pilot Shredder, so 2 things die. 2 discount, and then the thing that pops out of it has charge, and then 2 more things die, and all of a sudden this thing is 2 mana. But again, like these magical Christmas land, everyone, welcome to it. Enjoy your stay.
Now, do you think this will go in any non-dragon decks just for its text?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I give up. I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again, but I'm going to come out and say that I think this will be. And we could see this just start getting slotted into all kinds of decks, very much like piloted.
I think
Shredders.
tempo decks will make good use of this card because it is going to be a cool tempo play when you can play it on turn 4, turn 3, maybe even something like that.
Yeah.
Or play it with stuff late game where you play this and something else that you wouldn't have been able to play 2 cards with that much power in the same turn, but you can because it becomes cheaper.
Yeah, and especially if you've already seen a bunch of removal or weapons come out and go, and they don't have any more. I mean, it's a safe play.
Sure.
But
Kryptonite DJs put this in Zoo. There you go. Zoo trades all the time.
Done.
This
Is
could be the top of
Zoo
your-
coming back, and is Zoo coming back with a 6-drop?
Well, it's not a 6-drop, right?
Okay,
This
well,
could be like the top of your curve, you know.
You just humor me for that one statement because it sounds funny, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Draconid Crusher, 6-mana common dragon minion. It's a 6/6 for 6, but it still has text. Battle Cry. If your opponent has 15 or less health, die to Big Game Hunter. I'm sorry. Get game +3/+3.
Yeah. I mean, I guess because it has no real downside on turn 6, if it's I don't know, a 6/6 for 6, I guess, is essentially okay. It's weaker than a Boulder Fist Ogre.
Yeah.
And then now here's the thing, it's a battle cry. So this isn't like a persistent effect. It's like if they're above 15, it doesn't become a 9/9 once they go below 15 if it sticks on the board, right?
Right, but it also means it doesn't go back to a 6/6 if they heal themselves above 15.
True, it's going to be whatever it is when it hits the board.
There's a plus and minus to that. And
this really depends on the meta, what happens to the meta after Blackrock hits and all the wings are out and everything. If everyone's running double Big Game Hunter because of all the new crazy big dragons, this card will probably not see much play at all.
Which is a dark future I don't want to live in, and I can see it happening.
It very easily could be the thing. However, if everyone's running one Big Game Hunter, or Big Game Hunter's not necessarily run all over the place, this card could be very good. It could be insane pressure if they're already below 15 health, and then you drop something that can eat 75% of that health. That's scary, right? So, it's a wait and see card, I think, right now.
I'm like.
What about, since it is a turn 6 play, using it to bait out a Big Game Hunter before you play like a Boom or a Big Dragon?
I'm not going to call this a turn 6 play, though, because if you're playing like a deck that has a lot of big dragons and stuff, you probably don't have them below 15 health on turn 6. Like, if you're playing a super rushy deck, yes, you probably do have them below. Like maybe a hunter could play this as like the top. This could be the new top of there, but I still think Aggro Hunter is just going to play what Aggro Hunter already plays. I don't know. I don't see that really changing.
And
I feel like on turn 6, very unlikely you'll have them below 15 in most kinds of decks.
And and that's the other issue I have with the card too, which is 6-drop's a highly contested slot.
Mm.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good 6-drops that are neutral Sylvanas and not neutral Savannah Highmane that I don't see this card replacing.
Yeah, I do. So I think if you're playing like kind of an aggro-y mid-range deck, that this could fit in there. But I just think it just goes into just a dragon deck where it's like I have enough big things that I don't care if you Big Game Hunter one of them. I'd rather you do this one that costs, because this is still a big swing. Like if you call this your bait, having a 6 mana cost card die and then leave a 4/2 body on board for the opponent is a huge swing, which is why Big Game Hunter is so ridiculous. And that still means you might just lose the game because of that. So even if then you go into turn 7 and play Dr. Boom, it's like, cool, I did that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that wasn't a big swingy turn when he killed this with a Big Game Hunter. So I'm not sure. Like, this is a wait and see card for me. I can't say yes or no on this card yet.
You said, oh, well, we could just put it in a dragon deck. As if you're not totally stoked for dragon decks, dude.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. It's like anything that says
going in a dragon deck.
Anything that says dragon, I'm like, dragon deck, because we don't know exactly the mix of dragons that'll come out as being the best mix, but they could all find a place as far as I'm concerned right now.
Yeah. However, I think I would absolutely take this in Arena. I can't see very many reasons not to.
It's a common card, and we fine stats-wise.
We play Boulder Fist Ogre. This is one less health with an upside.
Yeah, and also you're talking Arena where Big Game Hunter is not
way
all over the place.
way rarer.
Exactly,
because
it's an epic card.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll pick this all the time in Arena for sure.
Absolutely. New beatdown of the Arena here, Draconid Crusher.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Nefarian. Probably the card I was most excited to see Mostly because
before you saw it, like just because of who he is.
No,
right?
mostly because I didn't know Major Domo was going to be a card, nor did I know what Major Domo was going to do.
Sure,
But that aside, really excited for Nefarian because Ragnaros is already a card. That's who I would have been excited for, but he's been here since day one. Anyway, he's a 9-mana legendary dragon minion, as he would be, because you can't have 2 Nefarians in your deck. They can't make him epic. Just be wrong. Even though you can still get 2 Thaddeus's, which I still think is broken. Anyways, he has 8 attack, 8 health, and a battle cry that reads, add 2 random spells to your hand from your opponent's class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This card wins so many cool points, but I just don't see it working.
No, it's a fun card at best right now, I think.
Card.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nosdormu or something. It's a cool fun thing.
Give him more credit than that.
I know.
I don't know.
give
Nosdormu
Nefarian-
can cause as much havoc as this card.
I
Nosdormu
hope-
actually can cause more havoc than this card, I think.
Sir, main
Especially with
Nefarian...
Oil Rogue. Play that on Oil Rogue, and they're just like, wait, no, I can't math that fast.
But I mean, to me, it's a card that goes in like, I want to play a fun deck with big crazy stuff, and I don't care if I really win or lose. That's where I think this card goes, and that's the Nosdormu slot. That's why.
Yeah.
And they're also both 9-mana 8/8s. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a little similar to that, I think.
Yeah, I love this card. Like, I want to play it.
So
I want to play
playing Priest, and
Yeah.
you get 2, and you're playing against Rogue, and you get 2 deadly poisons, right?
All right, well, now hold on.
Man. It's just,
Stop, I'm
That's
gonna-
okay, because then you thought steal a weapon, and you're golden.
Oh, of course.
I was gonna
why'd I
stop
think
you
of
there. I was gonna stop you because that's the first haterade everyone's been drinking all week that I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Is the
That's just the worst case example.
that is
of
the worst
what
case example,
this
and
could do, yeah.
and the exact same argument could be made for Thought Steal, and people run Thought Steal.
Yeah, except Thoughtsteal pulls it out of their deck.
Right.
So since it doesn't pull it out of their deck, you're not kind of guaranteed to get some sort of at least quality spell. Like this
Which-
could give
yeah.
me some really, really terrible spell that nobody ever runs, and there's a good reason why nobody ever
like
runs.
call pet.
There you go. You get Call Pet, and you're like, cool, man. 4 mana, draw a card that's never going to be a beast. You know, it's like, there's a lot of spells you're gonna get. There's like this is just never run, and there's a good reason. why.
Hey.
What if you get from a warlock, you get sense demons? You're like, I don't have demons, so I guaranteed to get the 2 worthless imps or whatever it is.
All right. First of all, I am offended that you are not respecting my Beast Priest. Okay. Like,
I forgot about your beast priest. You are correct. I should.
I would be very happy to get Call Pet.
the meta breaking beast priest.
How is that not a thing? It rhymes.
It really should be. It does rhyme, and that's half the battle, right? Oh no, wait, no, that's knowing. Never mind.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And the other half is actually building a deck that can win a game. Anyway, CM Worthen did clarify on Twitter that Nefarian pulls from the opposing class's full suite of spells. He can also pull 2 of the same spell. So just keep that in mind when you're probably not building your Nefarian deck. So,
I'll be playing a Nefarian deck. Don't get me wrong. That is coming.
yeah, but Dills, you're like known for taking cards that everyone poos on and building decks around them
And making terrible decks with them.
For
that are
the
super fun to
lulz.
play, but do not work. Yes.
for the lulz.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
walls. I'm gonna play the hell out of this thing, and I'm gonna have a great time every time I drop it.
It will be a good time. Now,
But if I'm trying to win a tournament, I will leave Nefarian in my collection where he belongs.
yeah, I'm sorry, Nefarian. I was so excited, and now I'm
Yeah. Who would have known that the final boss of a 5-man Blackrock Depths was just gonna be so much better than this guy? Doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, let's move on. Let's get started on the cards that were revealed today. The final 14 cards of Blackrock Mountain that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. Starting with the Paladin, with their new spell, Solemn Vigil. It's a 5-mana common Paladin spell, and it reads: draw 2 cards. Berm.
He's going hard on this. Yeah.
I was like, I wonder.
Costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn.
It is a long name for a mechanic that is now being used on a lot of cards, though.
No dills.
Like in Magic, they would call this something. They would, and then every time they would still write it out, but then
No,
they would call it.
they would
like,
write
you
it out
know,
on the cards that they had room for it, and on other cards they would just have the.
They would just have that,
have
yeah,
the name,
and they would
'cause
say,
that does happen.
Berm 1. This has Berm 1.
No.
Well, technically,
Man, I'm with Garrett on this.
This is actually
Okay,
Berm
I can
X,
agree that
technically.
yes, maybe we need to shorten this somehow. Like taunt is not written out on every single taunt card.
Yeah.
But
Taunt's not written out on any of them.
not
It just says
Berm.
taunt.
Yeah, I mean, Berm is, Berm, like you could call it like some sort of thing that has to do with death or something like that. Like it has demise 1. Every creature that's died.
That's not bad. I could probably get behind that.
There you go, demise or I don't know, necrosis.
Some sort of a mechanic. But I guess there's just not enough cards that they have it on yet for them to think we need to call this something. So, although now it's what is it? It's got to be at least like 6 or 7, right? Is it that many?
I think so.
Like a lot.
I don't think you're wrong. That being said, I don't know off the top of my head.
All right.
There's
we'll figure it out
4
when it
at
actually
least
matters.
just from today.
Okay. Well,
And
yeah,
there's
whatever.
been one
So there's at
before
least
this.
4.
So there's at least 5, I think.
Okay. So if there's 2 more than that, then yeah, I was right. Totally wild guess out of nowhere.
I love chat room going, what does BURM stand for? B-U-R-M.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just like, no, I'm just
Garrett's
pronouncing
trying.
the acronym
chat room, don't
of
encourage
Blackrock
it.
Mountain as a noise. It's not even a word, it's literally a noise. Go in the mechanic, what does it sound like? Well, it's making like a BURM sound. It's like BURM. Anyways, let's actually talk about Sullen Vigil instead of my dumb ideas for card text. I like this card. I know we just like crapped all over Dragon's Breath, but I think I like
drawing. This isn't doing.
This is drawing cards.
Drawing is always good, right?
well, always good, but then this exact card exists in Mage, and you would need to get a two mana discount for it to be comparable.
Yeah. So if you can kill if 2 creatures can die in the turn, you've got Arcane Intellect, which is a fine card. If you can get 3 creatures to die, you've got a discounted Arcane Intellect or whatever. But so to me, I look at a card like Battle Rage or something, which has a huge upside in Warrior, and I think is going to make. I feel like I've been calling for this for a while because I've played that card in a lot of decks, and I've drawn 5 or 6 cards with that thing, and it's insane. This card will only ever draw 2, so essentially you're only ever going to be getting 1 more card than you currently have. But it's still cycling and it's still whatever, and Paladin doesn't have a lot of great ways to do that already, so I think it does shore up something that Paladin doesn't really have a way to do yet.
Yeah, no, the fact that I don't have to use 8 mana to draw cards anymore as my only reliable way of doing that makes me really happy.
You have to put things like Acolyte of Pain in your Paladin decks, just to try to get some more cards.
Right, and
that's not that good.
It feels super awkward because you're not a warrior and you can't buff it up and ping the shit out of it with Whirlwind and Cruel Taskmaster.
Yeah, but I mean, I can see a lot of times where you play Muster for Battle on turn 3, and then you pay 2 for this on turn 4 and play Shielded Minibot as well.
Or all the times that you just reset the board with Equality Consecrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll probably just be able to play this for free.
Yeah, you kill enough things, you just spend 2 cards. Cool, I can get 2 cards back into my hand. Here we go.
Yeah. I do think that you'll have at least like 1 in some cool mid-range Paladin. And like Divine Favor can only be used in aggro Paladin, right? And that's another super situational card that only really works in that style of Paladin.
Yeah.
The other styles were just kind of, all right, well, I draw 1 per turn, but hopefully I'm always playing exactly 1 card plus hero power or something, so I never really run out of cards.
Right.
This does shore up a need Paladin has.
Yeah, and having played a lot of aggro Paladin, Divine Favor can tank if you don't draw right.
Or if you have 2 in your hand, it's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you draw your curve in reverse, which is already a bad game, Divine Favor just makes you cuss. It's just like, ah!
And Winky makes a good point in chat room that everybody respects the Pally dudes so much anyway. I think there'll be a lot of turns where you just stuff is on the board with Paladin, right? And things have to be traded. And it's just how it's going to work.
Yep.
And so a card like this will do fine.
Yeah. I love Paladin so much. I think it's officially like my class. I can't break away from it.
It's really strong. It's like with the just a couple of things that got added, it became really, really strong.
Yep.
I don't see it going away.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting stronger. Let's talk about the dragon that Paladins are getting. I didn't know Paladins had dragons, but joke's on me because they do. The Dragon Consort, it's a 5 mana rare Paladin dragon minion. It's 5 attack, 5 health for 5 mana, passes the vanilla test with flying colors, and reads Battle Cry. The next dragon you play costs 2 less.
I love this card.
This is really good. Yeah, so apparently they looked at all the classes and they said Paladin's going to have dragon decks.
Yeah.
Because they didn't all get class specific dragon cards.
No.
Paladin did, and it's freaking good, man. It's
Yeah,
really
I cannot wait to make my Dragadin.
If you can play Nefarian for 7, he's fine. He's totally fine. So Paladins, you can play that card.
But Dills, I could have just played Dr. Boom instead.
Well, but you don't get a discount on Dr. Boom. I'm saying the fairy is 9, he sucks. But if for 7, he's pretty good.
But then he still dies, and I don't have boom bots. I have possibly
random spells,
possibly
yeah.
good spells, possibly
But
terrible
if
spells.
you play, I'm just saying, like, this is what this card does. This card makes dragons that are costed fine really good, and dragons that aren't costed very well fine. And you can play 2 of these. This is not a legendary. You put 2 of these dragon consorts in your deck, and then that makes 2 of your dragons. Like, you're conserving 4 mana on dragons at some point later in the game.
Well, and we should note, too, that where it's a battle cry, it can't be silenced. And they did also confirm today that it's the next dragon you play. It doesn't have to be on that turn. Could be, any point in the game. Just the next dragon you play is going to cost you 2 less. So even if, it can't be silenced, if your opponent steals it, like it doesn't matter because the battle cry has already happened. It's resolved. There's no way for your opponent to get rid of this mana savings.
Yeah, this
for you.
effect happens until you play the dragon. So
Exactly.
yeah, if you draw Crow Magus on the next turn, he will cost 6. And then, if you don't play him, the next dragon you draw will cost 2.
That's the dream.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and when Paladins get the Time Machine card and go back and play cards earlier than they could have before, that dragon will cost less.
Yeah. It's just, it's an awesome effect. I like the idea of a battle cry doing some kind of a persistent type of thing, which this does. And there's a lot of they're finding a lot of cool ways to really work within the framework that they already have, which is very cool because it seems like such a simple game, right? But you can combine all these little elements together and make some interesting cards.
This is another one of those things too that just makes me want to pump my fist in the air and scream, "Hell yeah, digital!" Because could you imagine keeping tracking of this stuff if this was a paper game? Like, I'm going to write a memo. Whenever I decide to play a dragon next, I tap 2 less land.
Well, here's what you would do. No, this is what it would do. It would say when this dragon is played, you gain an emblem that reads your next dragon costs 2 less. That's what this would say.
I know, but it's essentially
but
another
it's
thing I have to keep track of. Huzzah.
So somebody in chat asked, does this stack? And no, it doesn't, because if you play this again, it's a dragon. So it's a dragon itself. So if you played this once, it would then cost 3 to play the next one, and then the next dragon would cost 2 less. Like, you can't then make a dragon somehow down the road cost 4 less.
But you did just get a dragon consort for 3 mana, so huzzah.
Essentially, it's stacked.
Better.
Yeah. It kind of stacked.
Yeah. I like this card a lot. Is that and real quick, and feel free to move on immediately, but I'm just curious. I know we talked about it a lot in the early days of the game when we were comparing it to existing games. Are any of us even a little bit sad that there's no flying? Because it seems like if it was ever going to be added to the game, now would be the time.
No, I'm still fine with it.
Okay, I am too. I was just curious.
I don't think we need it.
It made me think of it. I was like, if that was if it was ever going to happen, now would be the time. And I was like, you know what? I don't care.
The reason why flying doesn't need to be here is just because of the way the combat works. Like in Magic, it makes a lot of sense because of the way the attacking and blocking works. And this is a card that can kind of avoid that. But because of the fact that the attacker decides where it goes, I think it's less required, right?
Yeah. Although it would still have an effect because you're going to be able to target.
Oh, it still would, yeah.
But stealth basically covers the same.
I think it's a little too, like, the flying cards in Hearthstone would be really weak, or else they'd be OP. Like, it's just, the only way to kill it is with spells. So essentially, like, if you play something like a zoo deck, you just have no way to ever kill it.
Yeah.
Like that kind, like they'd have to make the stats really bad.
Now that being said, that is the case with a lot of the flying creatures in
No, yeah, they're
as well.
definitely, they're like when you see, what is it, Mantis Rider? When you see that card, you're like, what? Like, how can this be okay? It's 3 for 3 that is flying and vigilance and whatever. Like, what?
Well, that's because it's not about the minions that come with flying. It's about giving minions that shouldn't have it flying. That's why you just play Abzan Falconer in every single deck you have, and you win. Anyways, that's
and we've
all.
lost a bunch of people.
I promise. That's it.
Hey,
we're moving on.
What do you want from us? To just not know
Hearthstone.
about other card games?
How dare we
Not
not
gonna
be
happen.
friends on air?
Not gonna happen.
Anyways, Dragon Consort, awesome. Let's talk about the second Shaman card to be revealed, the Fire Guard Destroyer, of which I got many, many tweets of Garrett Rage or good card today. It has 4 mana, common Shaman minion, because Elemental is not a class or a race yet. It has 3 attack, 6 health, and a battle cry that says gain 1/2/4 attack, overload 1. So it will gain at the worst.
It's a 4/6 at worst.
Oh.
I would actually argue it's a 7/6 at worst, but yes.
Yeah, okay. But I think on turn 4, this card I would be okay with getting Big Game 100. I don't think this card would mean now I probably lose the game because it's got Big Game 100. I think there's when it costs 6 or more, then I'm like, I put so much more into that card than your response.
That is a very good point, yeah.
But so this card I think is fine when it becomes a 7/6. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
That being said, 1 through 3 are probably slightly better outcomes, but this is just an amazing card. 6 health is insane.
Yeah, that's like everyone tweeting. I'm like, I don't care if it's random. This card's really good.
This card is crazy good. Yeah, and the thing is that I'm okay with, like I've said many times, like I feel like the Ragnaros is that's too intense of RNG, right? But something that's between 1 and 4, this is becoming the theme, right, for Shaman, is it's like this range type of thing. I feel like that's okay because the swing isn't as huge, Obviously, Crackle, if it hits for 6 and kills you, that's a different story than if it hits for 3 and doesn't or whatever. Like, yeah, I get that, but it's a range. It's incremental how much it actually makes a difference, and I don't see anybody not playing this card.
This would be fine as a 3/6. Like you're getting.
So it's a 5 mana 3/6 essentially, which is already in existence, right? The Fen Creeper. Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, but it's a playable card.
But you play it on turn 4, means it's so much better. And plus, you know what this does? What's the 3 mana 2/4 that gains every time? Somebody help me out.
Oh,
the Shaman card.
Every time that you play
Every
Overload.
time you play an Overload
Unbound Elemental.
Unbound Elemental. So you play that into this.
You didn't say what it gains. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because there wasn't like an actual good. Because the Dune Maul Shaman was the 4-drop they added with Overload, right? That has the Wind Fury. That wasn't a card you were going to play.
Right.
This card you'll play, and this might bring Unbound Elemental back into the game, I think. So
well, and I think because we also got that we talked about a little while ago on a past show was it Lava Shock? Lava
Shock.
Where that clears your Overload. So you can have your Unbound Elementals, you can have super cool cards like this, and then you can just go, whoops, no Overload, and you have your super big beefy Elemental. So
it's actually going to be a really tricky deck to play, I think, where you're managing Overload almost every single turn.
I'm so excited for it.
Playing something really powerful almost every single turn.
I'm so excited for it. I can't wait.
Very, very cool thing that Shamans are getting in. And Shaman right now is in an odd place. They're very good against some big control decks that aren't getting much play these days. And they lose so easily to Face Hunter that they just aren't out there. But I see them do well in tournaments when they actually get those matchups against the decks they can kind of outlast because of the amount of sheer removal they have. And we get the Mech Shaman for a while, but that kind of fizzled at a certain point. So I'd like to see more of just a quality mid-range Shaman that can kind of hang with a mid-range Paladin. Yeah. And I think this is a step in that direction.
Agreed. Volcanic Lumberer is the first Druid card we're going to discuss. It's a 9 mana rare minion. It has 7 attack, 8 health, and reads Taunt. Costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn.
Burm. There you go. Demise.
Burm.
Yep. No, I think I'm on board with Demise.
That's because you hate fun.
I hate stupid made-up words.
Those are the funnest kind of words. Kappa. This card's okay, but I don't know if it goes into my Druid deck.
9 mana.
You're talking if you can save 2, you're a 7 mana 7/8. Think about the 7/8 with Taunt that Earth Elemental, right?
Yeah.
It essentially costs 8, but it costs you 5 plus 3, right? So you could play it on like turn 5. If you could play this really early, it could be pretty cool. There is some stuff though, because you could do, if you have like Innervate or something like that, you could like Force of Nature, Or maybe you're playing like a crazy token druid that has just all these little tokens that just die whenever you feel like running them all into stuff. Maybe you could get away with this, but I just feel like druid is doing fine the way they are now, and I don't feel like this card really changes. Like it doesn't give them a lot that they don't already have, or that they need. Right?
Like you weren't here last week when we discussed Core Rager, and my whole point on it was I don't know what kind of hunter deck Blizzard is trying to force us to create with this card.
Super aggro.
Right, super, like more aggro than it already is, which I don't...
They're just embracing it. They tried with GVG to say, you guys should play control. And then they're like, that was stupid. Why did we even try? Give them crazy aggro cards, man.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, I don't see that working, and I kind of feel the same. Like, I'm not sure what they want us to do with Volcanic Lumberer.
I don't know. It's a rare, which is weird too. Like I feel like its card isn't. I don't know. In arena, I'm always going to pick Iron Bark Protector, but I'm not going to see this enough, and I don't know if I'll pick this in arena. I don't know. Maybe I will.
It's rare.
It's a big creature.
It's a rare. It's not epic. I would take this in arena. I mean, depending on what it's up against.
I probably would. There's some bad rares, so
yeah. And again, less of a fear of Big Game Hunter, which is a big thing. So, yeah.
And constructed dies to Big Game Hunter is a huge drawback.
Yeah. The future is scaring me, people.
There's gonna be 2 in every deck, right? It's gonna be like open your deck creation, put in 2 Big Game Hunters, and now figure out what else you want to put in there. Like I feel like that's gonna happen.
They should have just given us
the shaman deck today that they were playing that had like 7 or 8 creatures with 7 or more attack. Like it was just this huge beefy deck, and I was just like, yes, it's the counter to Big Game Hunter.
That's because it was a show game.
But here's the thing, though. That's a really like. I don't think that's, and I hear people say this all the time. Like, just play a lot of Big Game Hunter targets. I don't think that means it's the counter to Big Game Hunter. I think that means you're super vulnerable to Big Game Hunter. That means you are going to lose to Big Game Hunter because, like, think about like Handlock. Handlock has a ton of Big Game Hunter targets already, right? When you actually draw your Big Game Hunters, that's the best chance to beat Handlock because you just kill their big giant threat really easily as it possibly could be. And like I remember playing a tournament where we could sideboard as much as we want. The guy plays Handlock. I go back and I sideboard in 2 Big Game Hunters and I crush him the next game because he can't get the threats out fast enough that I could just remove them, and then I'd overwhelmed him at that point and I win. So that's not the counter to Big Game Hunter. The counter to Big Game Hunter is no Big Game Hunter targets. That's the counter.
I thought you were supposed to be fun now, dude.
Well, I'm just saying, like if you want to beat Big Game Hunter, don't be like, well, I just need more Big Game Hunter targets. That's how I beat it.
I just need a curve that makes no sense.
Yeah. I just need more big cards because that way he kills it, and then I play another big card. It's like, well, yeah, but he's already killed a big card you invested a lot into.
I think they should have added one more mech in here. It's neutral. It's in the shape of a middle finger, and it just has a persistent effect that says Big Game Hunter cannot be played.
That would be interesting, yeah.
It's like a Jack in the Box with the big middle finger coming up on a spring. And
all they need to do is just make Big Game Hunter a 3/2, and then I'm good. I'm good to go. Because now you're actually paying something for this card. Right now you're paying very little.
It is incredibly well costed.
Yes.
And the points I don't think we ever really bring up, because I know we get on the BGH hate train a lot, is that we play them. It's in all of my decks.
Why the hell would I not play it?
It's such a good card, but I just
yeah. Play one of the best cards in the game or not because I don't like it. No.
Well, let's continue on talking about Druid. The next card Druids are getting is called Druid of the Flame. It is a 3-mana common minion. It is a 2/2, but unless you're getting that out of, a piloted something, that's irrelevant because it has a choose one effect, transform it into a 5/2 minion or a 2/5 minion.
3-mana 2/5 is pretty good, I think. But, and it's a beast. Both versions are a beast.
Right,
That should be, That should be
Isn't it one's a hawk and one's a cat?
Something like that, yeah. A 3-mana 2/5 is cool, and we'll probably make some cool trades. I don't feel like you'd ever put it into 5/2 mode. I don't think I would ever put it into 5/2 mode. But
I'm trying to think of a scenario, and I can't. Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. To me, I'd still, I would rather play a harvest golem over this. Like, I don't think this replaces Shades of Naxxramas and Druids. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think it replaces Big Game Hunter, and I don't think it replaces the cards they already had. And kind of with a lot of Druids, you want to just like skip over turn 3. You want to go from turn 2 to turn 4, right? So I don't think Druids really give a crap about their 3 drops that much. Shade is fine because if I play it, it can grow and do stuff as I'm waiting for these other ramp cards. And I can, but like innervating a 2/5 on turn 1 is not nearly as fun as innervating a Shade that's going to become a 4/4 on turn 4. You know what I mean? Like it's just going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. So
I'm just hoping for
this card's going to make much.
I'm just hoping this is one more card on the the long gradual road to making Druid of the Fang playable.
Sure. Possible.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that card was a thing.
I was so excited about it, and then all of the GVG cards were released, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, Druid Beast is just not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I filed Druid of the Fang in with Core Rager. It's just like, I don't know why this is here.
Yeah. It's gonna make Beast Druid slightly more viable, but I still don't think it's gonna be viable. It's just, not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Moving on.
It is common though. I'll pick it in Arena because it'll be on curve turn 3.
Why not?
Sure.
Let's look at the next rogue card that was revealed. Gang Up. It's a 2-mana common rogue spell, and it reads: choose a minion, shuffle 3 copies of it into your deck.
Fun card.
Yeah, fun card. Absolutely.
Good card.
Well, rogue more likely to burn through their deck.
Yeah, so if certain types of rogue
it's
are
not
more likely to burn
it's
through
not
the deck.
completely crazy.
No, I don't think this is like a bad card. I just don't think that it's the turn you play it, you're down a card that nothing happened, right? So the turn you play it, you're losing tempo to play this card, right? You spend 2 mana on something that does nothing to the current state of the game. Future turns, you can get cool stuff because you draw whatever it is, right? And the fact you can target opposing minions as well as your own. So you target anything that's on the board. So somebody plays something that you really want 3 of in your deck, you can get 3 of them in your deck. But I think the only real deck this makes sense in is a mill type of rogue, where you're adding 3 cards to your deck. Outside of that, nah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I do think it's kind of interesting that you get to choose a minion, and it doesn't have to be your minion. Like, it's just choose a minion. So you can take something from your opponent, too.
Yeah, so you could take, like, if they play Dr. Boom and you don't have an answer, you're like, well, at least I can put 3 Dr. Booms in my deck. The problem is I may not draw into those Dr. Booms, and that's really why this card is kind of weak. Imagine if this card was like, put 1 in your hand, and then put 2 into your deck or something like that. Like,
put all 3 in your hand. Oh, look out.
Well, then it would just be completely
that would just be broken. But, yeah.
I should totally design cards.
I feel like that would just be Ben Brode going, hey, Garrett, you didn't like duplicate? What, do you like this, you jerk?
Yeah. Now it's 1 cheaper and gives you 3 and does whatever minion you want.
And it's that.
Yeah.
It's that turn.
It's a fun, super fun card, and I'm going to have a good time with this card. But yeah, it's only going to be like a mill rogue that really uses this card effectively, and I think the mix of cards that's going to make an actual viable mill rogue deck is going to take a long time to hone in on. Because, yeah, they got some cool, Kidnapper is super weak and does something that's good for that type of play, but the card is super weak, right? So you got to figure out how to actually make it work. I don't know. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Hunter. The next card there you got revealed is Quick Shot. It is a 2-mana common spell, and it reads deal 3 damage. If your hand is empty, draw a card.
I hate this Hunter mechanic.
I do too.
But you know what? This card is fine.
It is fine.
This card is absolutely fine. This card is 3 damage to your face. And if I'm playing Face Hunter, it's a Dark Bomb. At worst, it's a Dark Bomb. And
Frostbolt without the freeze.
I top deck it and draw another card.
Non-freezing Frostbolt with possible card draw.
Yeah, exactly. And Hunter is the class when you play it aggro style that will probably not have cards in their hand at some point. So if you top deck this, you could top deck Quick Shot into Kill Command. Boom, dead. I don't see why any Face Hunter deck doesn't play this card.
If that actually happened to you, Dills, can I am I correct in assuming that you would actually have the same response as me, which is just sit there, just to shake your head and go, I'm glad it worked out for you, man. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad that you did that, and then that happened, and then that other thing happened.
You know, I'd be like, hey, man, have you ever gotten 3 boots? Don't think so.
Oh, that was so funny. I lost my headphones.
Lost your headphones?
Yeah, well done. Well, it takes a lot of humor to make me throw my head back like Ben Brode.
Yeah, I'm wondering, though, if face hunters will now start to include arcane shot just to have lots of things that can always go face. I don't think so, because your creatures most of the time will give you more damage, and for 1 mana you'd rather play just like a leper gnome or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like you'd rather just put a body on board.
But if you have quick shot now you're talking about lots of untauntable damage to the face in the deck, along with the hero power. So it's possible you see, because I used to see arcane shot in face hunter decks when people were still kind of figuring that whole thing out. It's gone away now, but I'm just wondering now, with one more option of just burn spells, that you may see all of the burn back.
Yeah, but we're not having the same discussion because Dragon Breath was added to Mage. Mage has burn spells that actually make sense because they deal 6 and 10 damage.
But I do think that Mage will have. I think that Aggro Mage will use that spell, and I think Aggro Hunter will use this spell. Like mid-range Hunter, I don't know if they'll use this spell because, again, at best it's a Dark Bomb, and at worst it's a Dark Bomb. At best it draws you a card, but you're probably not going to be out of cards in mid-range Hunter. So, but I wonder if a just pure face mage or pure face hunter might also run arcane just to have all of the spell damage that can go over the top of taunts. It's possible. I don't know if it's for sure or not. We'll see. I'll try it, and I'll let you guys know if it works.
You gonna make a super aggro hunter, Joss?
No.
You just
don't we all already have one of those? I mean, why wouldn't you have one right now?
Yeah,
just whenever you're like losing a little bit, just switch to that and then just win.
Yeah, I haven't been playing Hunter. I started out in Hunter, but I haven't played it for months.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It makes me so sad.
You're missing out. Just play Face Hunter, you win.
Fun. No, but it's not fun. I did try it, and I had a pretty good win rate with it, but it's not. It doesn't make the game enjoyable. I have so much more fun with Tempo Mage, just because unstable portals. Like each game is a little bit different, and Hunter is just always the same, and I don't like it.
I enjoy Face Hunter. I don't play it all the time, but I'm okay with it. I'm not anti-Face Hunter like a lot of people are.
I'm not really anti-Face Hunter either. Like, I don't get all ragey when it gets played against me. I just don't find it fun to play. It's probably maybe because I played so much Zoo. It feels very similar to. I know there's like a lot of trading in Zoo versus Face Hunter is just face, but it's not so much the mechanics of playing the deck as it is the minions in the deck. Like, they're just like, there's 2 of everything. It's pretty much the same every time. It's just not as entertaining. And especially where I've been trying to grind up the ladder, if I'm playing the same deck every single time, it just, I like that little bit of difference that you get out of the mage deck. Makes it more interesting.
I see, to me, I think I have fun when I play Face Hunter because you're kind of walking a tightrope. Because you're always out of cards when you actually win the game. And so it's like, did I win or did I not? Like, I know, like, even if you run out of cards, you can still press that button that does 2 damage every time. But a lot of times it's like you win by a kind of a small margin, even though it looks like you just crushed them. That most decks are kind of like actually pretty close to turning it around and then winning against you. So it's, while you might have them really low, a lot of times they also have you pretty low, and it's just kind of it's that tightrope walk, that suspense, kind of like, am I going to draw the card I need to win or not? And so I think it's a more interesting deck than people give it credit for. But I understand.
I agree with that entirely.
Everybody likes it.
And I know I talked probably the most crap about it out of everyone on the show, but having played it and having you played plenty of games against it, I agree, and I think that's why I don't like playing it. I'm constantly having a heart attack.
Yeah, because you're like, oh my god, what if he just plays a Sludge Belcher? I just lose,
What if he?
Well, yeah, it's the same sort of thing as Oil Rogue. Like, when you lose to Oil Rogue, it really, really sucks, and it happens often. But as an Oil Rogue player, like, you have to be okay with going down to 2 health and just, like, dealing with that. And that's really stressful.
Yeah, that's why I like, I guess, control in mid-range decks, is that I kept feeling secure throughout the majority of the game, feeling like, okay, well, I always have these options. And with Hunter, That's really not the case. It's just like, I'm just going to go. I feel like I'm all in from the start, basically, which you kind of are.
You are. Yeah. Like, if you can drop your entire hand on turn 4, you do it, because that's actually probably correct. Like, and that's super scary to do if you're not used to that. If you're used to, like, I have a lot of cards in my hand, and I got all kinds of things I can do, and I got taunts up, man. Like, you can't get past those. That's just not the feeling you have with Face Hunter.
Yep. Well, let's move on to the polar opposite end and talk about Priest, because both of their cards were revealed today. We hadn't had any previewed before. First up is Resurrect. It is a 2-mana rare Priest spell, and it reads, summon a random friendly minion that died this game.
This is a good card.
Yeah, I really like this card. I think in the proper deck, it could be really, really strong. Like, God, can you imagine, like, you play this and then you get a Death Lord back or something? Like, so many Priest minions just seem to be, like, so powerful. Dark Cultist is another one. Like, if you just have a few really powerful minions, then this card is just crazy.
Yeah, my only concern is every Priest wants Northshire Cleric, and I know I'm not going to be stoked when that's the card that comes back.
You as the Priest player, or you as the opponent?
Me as
if
the
you
Priest
get
player.
a Cleric back, you're getting a 1-mana card for 2, which is
yeah.
bad. So as long as you get something that costs more than 2, which most Priests don't even run anything that costs 2, so like the Wild Pyro is the only 2 cost in a lot of current Priest decks.
No, the odds are in your favor.
The odds are definitely in your favor, and it's a late game card.
Like, that's every current Priest deck. I'm thinking, like, we might see like a Resurrection Priest deck that doesn't have those cards that you wouldn't want to pull. Maybe we just see something totally different coming out of Priest.
Well, here's what you do: you take out the Zombie Chows, and you take out. Well, you probably still run Clerics, but you don't play them until the late game to draw cards. And you just play like a ton of big, crazy stuff and ways to wipe the board and things like that. And that's pretty much all you do. And then you're just guaranteed to get something good off of Resurrect.
Your freaking Blade Masters come back as 4/7s.
Yeah, because the battle cries don't go off. So
there's so much craziness that could happen with this thing.
Even if it goes horribly wrong, you're really only out 1 mana, right? Like, that's kind of the worst case scenario. Unless you play Wisps in your deck, then you're out 2 mana. But you're even in worst case, it's like, well, that wasn't so bad. Then think about something like, was it Mind Games? The 4 mana, play something out of the opponent's deck, at random. Like, that card has a super big downside, right? This card doesn't have a super big downside. It comes out of your deck, something that's already died, so you know the pool of cards that you could possibly get, and probably they're going to be pretty good. So
I like to think that hero Hearthstone player we mentioned earlier in the show that's running One-Eyed Sheet would be really happy to get his One-Eyed Sheet back.
It's like, dude, I got my 4/1 back, dude. Stoked. But I think you'll start seeing people run, less. Yeah, just no 1-drops. Maybe you'll have Smite back in the game or something, just to manage the board early on and things like that.
Yeah, more spells, more control,
more
light bombs. We're
spells.
seeing, light bombs are a thing now.
Yeah, more control-y spells and big minions.
I want to read
really
a priest.
control-heavy.
I want to see like a priest tutorial go up that says mulligan phase, throw back the Northshire Cleric. I want that to be a thing.
I mean, I honestly, sometimes when I play that deck, like, I don't play the Cleric as a turn 1 play. I play him as a way to draw cards later on, right? So I know a lot of people do just drop it on turn 1, but unless I can, like, coin into Velen's Chosen on turn 2, I don't play it on turn 1. Like, I just don't, because that's not what it's there for. It's not there as my 1-drop. Because then they drop a Knife Juggalo, and I'm like, okay, I lose. So I think you won't see people play that style with this card for sure.
Yeah. They also are getting Twilight Whelp, 1 mana common priest dragon minion. It has 2 attack, 1 health, and a battle cry that reads, if you're holding a dragon, gain +2 health.
All right.
I can't wait to be a dragon priest.
I mean, this is get rid of the zombie chows, play a dragon priest, but like we talked about earlier, this is going to force you to hold a dragon. You'll draw your opening hand, you'll get a Twilight Whelp, and you'll get some big dragon. Normally you would throw back your late game cards and keep your 1-drops, right, and try to like curve out. But instead you'll keep your late game card and then you won't curve out. So
maybe not necessarily though, because Fairy Dragon is a dragon, and that's a 2-drop.
Absolutely.
So if you've got 2 fairy dragons and 2 twilight whelps, then that's 4 cards you could potentially get for a really strong opening.
God, could you imagine
if you're playing
that?
a fairy
Actually,
dragon in your priest deck, you're making a big mistake because you cannot heal a fairy dragon.
Yeah,
But
You can't
imagine
target it with your own hero power, and you're taking power away from yourself.
just come on this journey with us for a second, Dills. Two magical
Magic
Christmas
Fairy
land.
Funland.
Magic Fairy Fun. There you go. The Emerald Dream. That's where the fairy dragons take you.
Yep.
Turn 1. Say you get you have both these whelps and you have 2 fairy dragons. You play a whelp for a 2/3. Next turn you play a fairy dragon for a 3/2. The turn after that you play both the whelp and the fairy
dragon.
and hopefully drew into another dragon somewhere along the line, and you have 2 2/3s and 2 3/2s by turn 3 on board.
So you start with 3 cards, then you get 1 more.
You need a perfect draw.
Yeah, this is not going to happen very often.
I know. That's why I said just come on this journey with us.
If so, someone in chat also just said so. It's zombie chat without the downside.
Drawback. Yeah.
It's like no, because
This has a different
there's
downside.
a serious drawback when sometimes it's a 2-1, and that's terrible.
Yeah, this has its own downside.
Yeah.
If you get
I don't know. I just think it's fine, but I don't think that it's like when people look at this, they go like, "Oh, this is so good, the 2/3 without healing the guy," and I'm like, "But there is a drawback.
you're
It's just
forgetting,
hidden,
you
right?"
still need a dragon, or this is a terrible, terrible card.
Yeah. The problem here too is like I talked about previously. I think the problem with Priest right now is they needed something to play early game, and this might look to be the answer to that, but it's not quite. And I do think if you run a dragon deck, you do play this, but it just has some interesting, weird kind of drawbacks that aren't like obvious right off the bat, but they will happen, and you'll be like, this is awkward. Like, what do I do here? Do I play him on turn 1 when I don't have a dragon in my hand? Like. And those are going to be weird, rough decisions. And I don't know if he'll stick around, but everyone will play it early on at least to try it out.
I am so
Maybe it'll
excited
be really good.
Yeah, Dragon Priest. Oh, yes.
Do it, Jocelyn.
I will.
Do it.
I will.
Send your
Joss
replay.
to Legend with Dragon Priest.
I want to see turn 1 this and then turn 2 fairy dragon. Just do it. Just do it. It'd be great.
I know, it's going to be so good.
You could also just draw 2 twilight whelps, and the first one at least would be buffed.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and the first one's buffed. Yeah.
Yeah, but we will have to see. The Warlock's second card was revealed. It's called Demon Wrath. It is a 3-mana rare spell, and it reads, deal 2 damage to all non-demon minions. I think
This could be really
cool.
good, dude.
I'm about to say, this is super cool, and I now want to see a whole collection of cards that are like this. Like, deal a bunch of damage to everything but mech. Deal a bunch of damage to everything but trogs. I don't know.
Butt dragons, yeah. I just said butt dragons, but that's fine. We'll ignore that. But no, like
Man, we
so.
are so tired right now because that was way funnier than it just.
No, that's pretty funny. Your tiredness has nothing to do with it.
No, yeah, butt dragons will always be funny. That's just the rule. But okay, so Demon Wrath I think is really cool because you look at a card like Hellfire and it's like that's a good card, right? But if you cannot damage your own stuff and clear the other guy's stuff, now you're really cooking with fire, right? So cooking with gas, cooking with whatever. Whatever that saying is.
I think it's gas.
Sure, why not? Screw that. It's cooking with fire now. Cooking with Demon Wrath now.
Cooking with
but
fire
here's
blast.
the thing. That's huge tempo swings. This is consecrating the other guy's board, and you've played, all you're playing is demons.
You're continuing to play Demon Lock, which still is a really fun deck.
You're playing Demon Lock, and like maybe anything that you're not playing that's a demon is like a Nerubian egg, and then it's like cool. I activate my egg.
Oh my god, dude! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So many ways to make this an awesome addition to a Demon Lock card. So I'm all over this card.
And you're
Let's
also
go.
just making me realize why I continue to really think Dragon Egg is super lackluster. But
Yeah. Because you'll get 1/2/1 instead of a 4/4. The other thing that so somebody just said, what if you're playing against another Warlock? Well, then you just save it for a time when they don't have all their demons on board, and you do. It's worse. It's a worse card, obviously, in that matchup, but I think it's still fine. There's still non-demon cards.
there's a lot of issues with mirror matchups in general.
Sure. Yeah.
That you're going to run into. Granted, this is a rather glaring one. But, yeah, I don't know. I think this is super cool. I'm surprised it's taken this long to see an effect like this. And that's when I know it's good. Like when I'm like, oh, why wasn't this here before? And it's like, oh, it just feels natural. Like it should have been in the game to begin with.
Yeah. I've been playing a Void Terror Demon Death Rattle deck, and it is super fun, man. And this will go right into that deck.
Ooh.
Like the whole point of the deck is just to make big crazy boards with Void Terrors, So it's got like the Power Overwhelmings and the Nerubian Eggs and all the things where I could take a lot of advantage of my guys dying or becoming really big, and then I Void Terror them, and I got like a 9-8 and an 11-11 and a whatever, and it's just like this insane board. And a lot of times they just Big Game Hunter or Quality Consecrate or whatever. That's fine. It's still super fun because you make a big board. This will fit so perfectly into that, and I'm excited for this.
Awesome. The warrior spell that was previewed is Revenge. It is a 2-mana rare spell. It reads, deal 1 damage to all minions. If you have 12 or less health, deal 3 damage instead.
Poor warriors, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This card's terrible.
Poor warriors. Yeah.
Really...
okay. Maybe there's some new future where they always want to get low on health and they do amazing things, but
in what world are you living in where dealing 3 damage is considered, quote, amazing things?
Yeah, exactly. This card, even when you do get the buffed effect where you're almost dead and you're dealing like you're killing your own stuff if you have stuff at that point, which you hopefully do. And it's just, I feel like you just have Whirlwind already and it costs 1, and why wouldn't I just play that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a 3 damage, board wide effect, that's not bad, but I don't know. What
they needed.
You know what is going to happen is this is going to come out, and there's going to be a Grim Patron deck that uses this and just straight up rushes everyone who uses it to Legend, and we're just going to sit here going, huh, well, we were totally wrong.
It's really good, huh? Yeah.
We were completely wrong. And that's like, I could see something like that maybe happening. We're just overlooking it, but just looking at this,
I don't know.
Without having played it, looks pretty lackluster.
Yeah, I'm not excited about this card, and it really sucks too because Warriors are struggling a lot in Arena, and this is not going to do anything to help. And I don't know really what they need right now, but they didn't seem to get any of that help in any of these cards, so it's too bad.
This is just getting you so jacked to play Warrior, isn't it, Jocelyn?
Oh, totally. I can't wait.
You're just going to make
it's going to be my go-to deck.
A big foam
because
garage
revenge.
head. Because revenge. It makes it sound like because something with a warrior happened. You're like, well, now we'll join them and play it and get my revenge. Yeah.
So they got this and they got Axe Flinger. I guess Axe Flinger is not terrible. But
yeah, Axe Flinger's okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rapidly look at Axe Flinger. I don't even remember.
4 mana, 2/5. Whenever this minion takes damage, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That card's okay.
That's okay.
I don't think it saves Warrior, and I was hoping that the other card they're going to get was going to be some sort of awesome Warrior savior. But
well, you know what's going to give us a new type of Warrior is the Warsong Commander fix.
That is true.
That is the biggest change that is coming to Warrior in Blackrock Mountain.
That's a very good point, actually.
So while it's not as shiny and exciting, and it's not something you're going to see quotes and taglines and Facebook ads about, that is a very, very big reason to get excited about Warrior in Blackrock Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
never mind. Congratulations, Warrior. You're back.
Your card is working as intended.
Yeah.
Let's close it out with the 3 legendaries that were revealed today. We already discussed Nefarian. He wasn't released or revealed today, though. That was last week.
Yeah, that was last week.
Starting off with Cro-Magus, an 8-mana legendary dragon minion. This is a neutral. All the legendaries are neutral. No class-specific legendaries coming in. Although it would have been ridiculous or great if just like one class was just like, yeah, they get a legendary. No one else does, though. Moving on. Wait, excuse me. No questions. Moving on. Anyway, 8-mana legendary dragon minion, 6 attack, 8 health. Yes, I shouldn't be excited about 6 attack, but I am. And
That's just so backwards, man. That is so backwards.
And it reads, whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. Holy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I can borrow a line from one of my favorite shows on television, holy shit snacks.
I love this card, man. This is a fun card right here. This is a super fun card. But I do have a bone to pick. Cro-Magus is a core hound.
You're damn right he is. Thank you. Yes.
Why is he a dragon all of a sudden? What?
Because reasons, Dill.
You can actually tame Cro-Magus for any hunters out there. So if you want like a purpley core hound, that's where you get one.
Dude.
Yeah.
Go get one right now. See ya.
Go get him. Cro-Magus is a cool boss, actually. It's the one that like does all these things to you or something, and then you turn into like a Draconid or something like that. If all the buffs are on, or all the debuffs are on you, it's a cool fight. And I remember going back when we were like just above level, like it was like level 70 or whatever when we went back, and he was still kind of hard. But yeah, this is an exciting card. This version, anyway. The dragon version.
Okay, so hang on. Super Smarty Row in the chat room says he's a hybrid of a corehound and a dragon, according to lore. We just got rode.
All I know, Ro, is that he's a beast in World of Warcraft, hence can be tamed.
If I can tame him, he's a beast, okay?
Well, maybe they're taking advantage of his beast side in Warcraft and his dragon side in Hearthstone.
Dinosaurs. Okay, so yeah, Lunas is on our side. He's like, he's a dinosaur, not a dragon.
No, could you just stop there?
Could be both?
Dills, could you just stop there just so I know your retort was, and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah. And dinosaurs. Done. Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dinosaurs are beasts in World of Warcraft, so anyway.
You mean they're not birds?
This should be a hunter card is all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, because hunters need a legendary.
They need a 6/8 legendary for 8. Yeah. That's what they're missing.
Nonetheless, I'm very happy it's not, because this means I will actually get to use the card, because I'll be able to put it in classes that I play. Huzzah.
Yes. So there's a couple of things about this guy that we should probably go over, because this guy is a little tricky. They're changing Ysera now. They're changing the text on Ysera, because currently Ysera says draw a dream card, right?
Oh, okay.
And they actually don't want you to have Cro-Magus on board and then Ysera and then get 2 dream cards. So now it's going to say like summon a card from the dream or something like that. I can't remember exactly what they're changing it to, but essentially they're taking the word draw out of Ysera.
Which it honestly never should have been in there in the first place.
Yeah, because you don't draw it from your deck. Draw. Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, you need to draw it from your deck to be drawing a card, right? So creating a card out of the mystical world, is not the same thing. So
Manifest,
that's not happening.
Summon, materialize, just for ideas of what you could use.
Yeah. So, so anything that says draw will work with, you'll get 2 whenever you get that one, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't work with tracking. So if you play tracking... And because you get to choose? No, it doesn't work with tracking. Confirmed on Twitter.
According
to
Zariah, she says that, and that does not make sense to me because that is.
They'll have to change that wording too, because it literally says, "Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Draw 1."
Draw 1, yeah. So I think that they must be changing the text, but yeah, it's because you have the option to choose, and so they don't want tracking to be like essentially the same as dream cards. Dream cards are really overpowered, right? Or I guess really strong, not necessarily fully overpowered, but they're strong cards. And so it's the same sort of thing. Like if you have your tracking, you get the option to choose. They don't want you to be able to choose 2 copies of that card.
Well, yeah, you get 2 kill commands or something like that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's pretty. So they need to change the text or something if they're going to do that.
Yeah, the thing is though, like that bothers me because if it's from your deck, it should be a draw. But I don't know.
So it should say something like, "See the top 3 cards of your deck. Pick one."
Pick one.
If it says draw, then you've got some real problems here. There's actually there's some other weird stuff. I want them to go back and like really make sure that they've locked down the language in a lot of things. And I know Brode said in the past, like, well, the intuitiveness of some of these cards may not be there, but once you play it, you kind of get it. But as you add more and more cards, that becomes a problem. Like people start to come to the game and then they can't essentially figure out what a card does before they play it a bunch, and that might turn people off. And they go, wait, it does that? Like that doesn't make sense, So, somebody asked about Thought Steal. That doesn't work, and that makes sense because it actually says to steal them from or copy them. Yeah, copy them. It doesn't say draw.
Yeah,
at all,
and they could fix tracking just by saying like keep one and discard the others instead of draw one.
Yeah, sure. Something like that.
Yeah,
you've drawn 3, but you didn't say draw there. You just looked at them. And you keep one. Yeah.
And I feel like there were a couple of other interactions that she clarified, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were kind of like, oh, yeah, it wasn't so much that I thought it would work as I was like, oh, yeah, that totally would have confused me. I would have had no idea if it worked or not. So, yeah, if you guys are curious, go check out. I think they were replies to Brian Kibler, actually, from Sarai's Twitter account. So go check them out.
But all the things that you're thinking about outside of that do work. So say something like, I have Cult Master on board. And some minions. I play Cro-Magus. Each one of those cards I draw, I get 2 of those. And you're actually creating a one out of thin air. It's not pulling 2 out of your deck or whatever. It's,
right.
You draw the one, and then you get just a brand new, fresh copy of that one card you draw. So, or like if I play, which I'm thinking that this card will probably make its way into like Handlock, because on turn 8 I can play this and I can life tap, and I get 2 cards right off the top. So, and Handlock has really powerful cards. Seems like a no-brainer to me. So. Yep. But it's a cool card, and I think it's going to make its way into a lot of control decks.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen any chatter about Tracking getting its wording changed. It really does need to be changed.
It does, yeah. The other card that somebody had made a good point about was Molten Giant, because if you read Molten Giant, it says cost 1 less based on how much damage your hero has taken, but I could have taken like 40 damage and healed up a bunch. So technically my Molten Giant should cost 0, but the healing actually takes damage off.
Costs 1 less for every health missing.
Yeah, it needs to be clarified there too, because if I heal up, it makes my Molten Giant cost more now, things like that. So, or if I've taken a bunch of damage, then I play Jiraxis, it's like, so now I've not taken any damage? No, I took all that damage. Like that happened, It's kind of weird. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Although then it doesn't technically count because you're full.
But that's the thing. You did take damage. Like the card literally just says take damage.
Yeah.
So
no, you're absolutely
like,
right.
I took damage, man. And if there's other cards in the game that work like Battle Cry, the next dragon you play costs 2 less and works exactly like it says, that card should work exactly like it says, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm also in the camp. I'm like, well, Dr. Boom should say what the hell the Boom Bots do on his card, because if it's the first time seeing him, you have no idea what the hell the Boom Bots do.
But that adds to the Boom Bots fun.
Yeah. But it took away from our ability to assess the card, right? Until we play with it.
Oh, yeah. Remember we saw it at BlizzCon. We're like, oh, this card's probably terrible because we have no idea what the Boom Bots do.
Yeah. And I understand that there's reasons why they don't do that, but I kind of would just prefer all the cards say exactly what they do, and you can really know right away just looking at them. Oh, that's what that does. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Don't sound so excited.
You better get excited for the next card, man.
Yeah, the next card is awesome.
I'm excited about all these cards. I'm just...
Hey, you guys have had a long day, huh?
Yeah. Emperor... I'm not going to pronounce this right. I give up. Thorison.
Thorison, I believe.
Thorison, okay. Thor would be an OR, not
He has a hammer. That's how you can remember. He's Thor.
He's the last guy in BRD.
OR makes or. AU makes our.
Sure.
Just saying.
Shush.
Anyways.
Thorison, doesn't really matter.
It's a 6-mana legendary minion. He has 5 attack, 5 health, and he reads, at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of your cards in your hand by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
That is not a battle cry.
What?
That is not a death rattle. That is not any of those things. That is a persistent effect, similar to, say, Nat Pagel, that happens at the end of every single one of your turns.
Yep.
Which means that he's going to go off at least once. Like, you're going to get his benefit once, because there's nothing your opponent can do, because it happens at the end of your turn. So you play him, end of your turn happens, all the costs of all the cards in your hand goes down by 1, and then your opponent goes, well, crap.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, I think twice about Sylvanas.
I mean, I'll still play Sylvanas, because then Sylvanas will cost 5 after I play this.
That's a really good point. That's a really freaking good point. This card's like hidden text dies, man. Like your opponent's gonna try whatever they can to remove this thing.
And here's the deal, though. It's a 5/5. It's not like if this was a 4/4 or something like that, then swipe kills it, whatever. Like it's gonna take some doing to get this off the board, and it's a card that like you could kind of just feel good about playing whenever. And there's going to be some timing issues to get the most value you can out of it. But no matter what, if you can play this with 2 cards in your hand, you're essentially getting value for it. Because it's a 6 cost 5/5 where then on your next turn you're saving 2 mana, right? So you've kind of essentially already paid for itself. With 1 card in your hand, you're kind of like you're breaking even, right? Which means like this card is just good unless you just top deck it and have nothing in your hand. But if you're playing a control deck, or say handlock, and you have 7 cards in your hand,
oh god,
you pay 6 to get a 5/5, and then you save 7 mana over the course of however long it takes to play those cards that are in your hand.
Can you
at least?
And
7.
we should mention too that this is a persistent effect, so like it happens
so
every
if it doesn't
turn.
die,
So
it's going to continue to go down and go down and go down.
yeah, and even if it does die or if it gets silenced or whatever, like that effect has already happened. So it's similar to the card we were talking about earlier with the battle cry. Like it's done. There's nothing you can do to kind of dispel the effect. So all of your cards that are in your hand are always going to cost 1 less mana.
Can you imagine the utter insanity of this card in any of the current fast druids?
Well,
I was just going to say, yeah, this
getting
is
this out.
not
amazing
just
in a third
them.
deck.
It's like any deck that has like a big crazy combo. I mean, think about.
No, I agree, but
Yeah.
him getting this out any earlier than it should, which druids will be able to do at ease, and then it's going to start discounting all these cards that are expensive that you already could have played sooner because you had all these ramping cards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Double innervate this on turn 2.
Well, but here's the deal, though. If you double innervate this, you probably only have like 1 or 2 cards in your hand.
That's a very good point.
That's true.
It may
But
seem
then it's going to
insane.
take them probably a couple of turns to actually.
Oh
deal
yeah,
with
no,
it.
it'll.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not going to give you like immediately like 5 mana discount, or it'll give you discount on 2 cards, and it'll probably won't die for a little while, which means you'll get value. But it's not going to be like, holy crap, now I just lose. It's not.
Yeah.
But it's pretty close.
I think it's like
pretty close.
turn 4, innervate it out, get it out 2 turns early, and you'll have a hand worth discounting at that point.
So
Eric's so practical.
I like this card for a lot of reasons. Like I know it's insane and it's crazy OP, but we collectively as a Hearthstone community seem to kind of rail against aggro, right? And guess who doesn't get to use this awesome card? Aggro decks. Aggro decks are not going to play this card because it does not fit into what they're trying to do. By the time they get to turn 6, they probably won't have any cards left anyway. This isn't going to be helping aggro.
Also, I really, really wanted that discount on my 2 mana minions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
All
that's
my
the
2
other,
mana
everything's
minions,
already
that's
1 or
super
2 mana anyway.
So this essentially, what this does is it buffs control, mid-range, and combo decks, and leaves aggro in the dust. It says aggro, guess what? Most awesome new card in the game doesn't help you at all. But all those other decks get buffed. So that's actually, I think, a really good way to kind of even out the meta, where if you're sick of seeing Face Hunter all the time, you fall behind a Face Hunter, but then you pop this thing out, and all of a sudden, like on turn 7, like you have so many options. Like you can now probably outrace them when this card hits the board. So you're going to get a huge, I think you're going to see a big meta swing just because of this one card. Also, Lotheb just got a buff, because now how do you counteract this card? Well, I play Lotheb, and then your discount goes away for at least 1 turn. But,
Because
yeah.
Lotheb needed a buff.
Well, sure, but, it's going to be tough to counter this card, something like Lotheb. Unless you can kill it right away. You're going to need something to kind of stem the tide a little bit.
You heard it here first, kids. Take down your posters of your Lamborghinis and your bikini babes and put up your poster of Emperor Thorson. This is the new thing to achieve.
This is the new card, yeah. All my decks are going to have Lotheb, Emperor Thorson, and Dr. Boom, and 2 big game hunters, and then we'll talk about the rest. We'll figure the rest out.
We start there.
So
and then
I'm building 25 card decks from here on out. So people are saying, "Oh, don't I start running 2 owls now?" Yeah. It doesn't matter if you run an owl, dude. It already happened.
It already did.
You owl it on the next turn, it already got at least 1 turn of the effect. So an owl's not necessarily the answer here.
It just stops it from being even worse.
Yeah, sure. It makes it so that the next turn it doesn't do it again, but it's already done it once. And if they have 7 cards in their hand, and now you gotta start thinking like, okay, so wait a minute. So now Jiraxis only costs 8, and now Sylvanas only costs 5. And now, like it's just all of a sudden it's complex to think about.
I can't wait to watch games, like pro games of this, because it's gonna the bar is gonna raise again. You're gonna see the player stop and think, and the caster go, "Oh, you know what he's doing now? He's doing all that math in his head because now the math has changed." And like I can see it happening, and it's gonna be great and super interesting. And yes,
Yeah.
God, I hope this card doesn't get nerfed.
Card shakes up the whole damn thing, and everybody can use it. It's not a class; it's a neutral.
Yep.
Best 6-drop, bam, done.
Done and done. And finally, closing it out with Major Domo Executus. 9 mana legendary minion, 9 attack, 7 health, death rattle, replace your hero with Ragnaros the Fire Lord.
Yes.
So it takes you down to 8 health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Takes you down
Or
to 8
brings
health.
you up to 8 health.
Or brings you up, sure.
It's a very good point.
But it's considered a maximum of 8 health. However, before Jiraxis was a maximum of 15, right? So changing your health to 15 again with Alex Straza didn't do anything. You can change your health back to 15.
Yes,
So.
you can.
But how
I'm
often
so
is this
excited.
really going to happen? Everybody's
It's gonna
making a
be
huge
so
deal about
fun.
it.
So Alex Strauss is the only way you can heal above 8 once using Ragnaros.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
So if you're a
once-
priest, you can't heal to 10 and then to 12 and then whatever.
Unless you're like a warrior and you can armor up over top of that.
Now, here's the other thing. If you're a warrior and you turn yourself into Jiraxis or Ragnaros, you lose all armor that you already had. So,
And you also lose your hero power, granted, for what quite possibly is the best hero power ever. I didn't think they could beat Jiraxis, but the hero power is called Die Insect. All caps. There is a comma and an exclamation point. Ragnaros likes himself some grammar. It's 2 mana. Deal 8 damage to a random enemy.
there you go.
I,
The thing is, it's still random, and like I'm a little bit bummed that now it costs 2 mana to do what you already just did at the end of the turn. I feel like the way to really do this is to turn yourself into Ragnaros, keep whatever hero power you already had, and then at the end of your turn, just shoot out 8 damage randomly. You know, but whatever.
Well, I mean,
Whatever,
but the
it's fine.
difference, I guess, there and maybe what kind of justifies the mana cost is you can do it whenever you want. You don't have to wait to the end of your turn. So you could
No,
do
it's
it,
true.
see what the outcome is, and then you still have your full turn and your full mana to respond. Because
8 mana.
it's 9 mana, so you're going to have 10 mana to play the cards in your hand. So
But what I'm
it
saying is you're
gives
not
you the
technically
advantage a little.
you're not technically turning into Ragnaros. You're turning into this other guy who looks like Ragnaros, talks like Ragnaros, but has to push a button.
well, maybe
to do it.
he's
So you're just
Ragnaros
doing it
from
at
the Firelands raid.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
All right. It's different rag.
And you can also play Rag.
I like to call
Yeah.
it
You can be Rag with Rag. It's
and then you could faceless manip rag, so you could Yo-Dog Ragnaros while you Ragnaros while you Ragnaros.
exactly. And then duplicate and junk
Oh,
and
just-
echo and just all the rags.
Yeah, and
I
gang
wanna
And I'm
fill
up.
sure
my
you'll live
board
long
with
enough to
rag.
do all of this with 8 health. I'm sure that'll happen every time.
And rogues can do it with gang up. It'll be wonderful. It'll be absolutely wonderful.
Here's what's going to happen, though, more often. You're going to do this, and then someone's going to double eviscerate your face, and you're going to go, "Ah," and be dead. That's
No. See, what's going to happen is we're going to play a friendly game where we're going to let each other get to this point so we can just have all the rags. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely. Now, if you turn yourself into Rag, you can still then turn yourself into Jiraxis, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Now you do.
Or vice versa.
You
Turn
can
yourself
you
into
can
Draxus
change
and then Rag.
forms several times.
So you
throughout the
can be
course of the
3
game.
different heroes within a game if you are
Sure.
a warlock.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Very interesting and fun card. I don't
Yeah.
think we're going to see this in a lot of.
No, I don't think so
edited-
either. But seriously, like this is the kind of thing that just makes me like want to mail thank you letters, snail mail over to Team 5 because this is just so stupid fun. This is so imaginative. I love it to death.
This is the kind of stuff we need. We need cards like this because it's awesome and crazy, but it's not OP, right? And it's
Right.
gonna make games super fun. I mean, if I play Major Domo and then somebody big game hunters it, I'm like, sweet dude, that's why I played the thing. Like I wanted to be Ragnaros. So thank you for helping me do that.
I'm
you
so
know?
glad that they cater to the players that want to build theme decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that not every and that's something that we probably should have said right at the front when we were like crapping all over Dragon's Breath. It's like, listen, not every card has to be great. Not every card has to be an auto include in the constructed deck. You know, there's a lot of players out there. I'd love to bring Kyle from Heroes over here because that's exactly the kind of player he is. It's all about flavor and theme and winning on your own terms, not what
Yeah.
you know, not what whoever upvoted a deck to the top of the thing, had to say about it. It's
It's true that when you look at these cards, a lot of players go, "Oh, this card sucks." It's It's like, well, not every card needs to be amazing or even fine.
And any card game that has a limited format, even though an arena is it's not as involved as I would like it to be, it is a limited format, and you do need cards that are suboptimal for that type of format. So, good stuff. I cannot believe we just talked about as many cards as we just freaking talked about.
Yep, I think we probably have to skip emails, don't we?
I think we do.
No, we're skipping everything.
I need to sleep. I need it. I crave it. I require it. I also require to thank our delightful, awesome patrons who like us, despite my idiotic attempts to come up with bad keywords that I think are funny and no one else is laughing at. They still support us, all 435 of you.
We blew right past Yellow Swag 420. Blaze it.
Yeah, we did.
I was going to print that tweet and hang it up on the wall, and I forgot. I need to go back and find that.
Yeah, it was funny because we just talked about it because we were on 419 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about it. And I went and it was exactly 420. I was like, nice.
Yeah, the YOLO did swag.
Nice.
The YOLO did indeed swag.
Thank you, guys. It's crazy.
Anyway, again, thanks to our patrons. If you want to become a patron, you can head over to patreon.com/TAC. Becoming a TAC patron gives you access to the TAC Skype account for our call-in episodes, as well as the after-show VOD before everyone else. So thank you guys so much, because we're doing one extra episode a month thanks to you. And this week we wanted to thank Brian, Lincoln Sean S., Ben H., Jason C., and Philip E.M. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. And also, if you're an iTunes podcast listener, drop us a 5-star review if you enjoy the show, because it helps the show out a ton. I don't even understand how their algorithm works, how much it helps us.
Apparently, 5-star reviews mean more than anything else.
I guess.
To iTunes.
Yeah. Well, almost more than anything else. I'm pretty sure Giant Bombs Cast numbers are actually killing us that much.
No, downloads mean a lot, but the thing is, most podcasts near the top, their download numbers don't move up or down in a huge fashion week to week. So you do see big swings in who's near the top week to week, and that's kind of based on who's leaving reviews and stuff like that. So
it's a great way to help out the show if you enjoy what we're doing. So this week, thank you very much to Ethanator1903 and Babe413, who apparently shows up for the laughs.
Awesome. Another cool thing here is, I know not everybody can afford to be a patron and stuff, but if you do feel like you want to support us in some way, this is a fantastic way to just do it with no money coming out of your pocket. And we appreciate this 100% as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And every now and then we get these tweets. It's like, oh, I can't afford to support the show. Totally fine. I hope no one feels like they have to. The show will always be free. And it's absolutely going to continue to be free, and we're not going to stop.
Jocelyn will be mad at you, but me and Gary.
And she just won't say anything because she's trying to keep up this appearance of this really nice Canadian. But when the second we hit stop record, she's like, all these
she just starts counting her money. That's all she does. She actually has a room like Scrooge McDuck of just full of gold doubloons that she swims in.
Jocelyn, I told you I would get you.
What I do in my third bedroom that I don't really need. It's just full of
Jocelyn, I told you I would get you back for inferring on Twitter that I make my friends pay to play games with me. So I am now going to agree with Dills and consider the debt paid.
All right, good.
Just a room full of money with holes in it. She's just swimming around in there.
It doesn't have actual holes. It's just see-through. Damn it.
I don't know. There's a hole in that story.
Oh, jeez.
My eyes.
Oh, that was great. Good play on words there. As always, The Angry Chicken is produced by amove.tv and frogpants.com. Past live shows and other videos can be found over at youtube.com/StarcastShow, including the video of the finals for the Angriest Chicken Open. I'll be
Which, by the way, happened earlier today, so WTF, how old is this? I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
not gonna watch it.
In 2 days, no one's gonna give a crap because Blackrock Mountain cards will be out. So watch it in the next 2 days. I'll be uploading it tomorrow after I get this up. The Angry Chicken T-shirt is available on /loot.com. That's SLASH loot.com. Our Twitter is at TAC Podcast. You can catch us live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, except next week. We will be recording on Tuesday next week. I'm slowing down because everyone gets angry when we change times and you tell us we didn't tell you, so I'm telling you now. 8:30 Eastern time next Tuesday, because Jocelyn and I will both be out of town for 2 completely unrelated things.
Yep. And I need to be there but need to do it earlier so I can get the game night after.
Exactly.
So that's why it's moving up a little bit. So
exactly.
Earlier and on a different day. This is two things.
Whoa.
Two things are changing. So
yeah, but we couldn't skip a week. It's Blackrock Mountain launch week. There was no way that was happening, so we're gonna do it on a weird day, and looking forward to it. Check out Brian Griffith. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. He made our intro music. It's delightful. I still love it to pieces. Check him out. Dills, where can folks find you?
You can find me. Well, first, I think I want to tell everybody too. Like, this is the number one thing. I want people in the Bay Area to come out to game night every single Tuesday, but every other Tuesday, the first and third, we're going to be doing mini Hearthstone tournaments, and they're super fun. They happen live. You actually sit across from the guy you're playing. So that's at Folsom Street Foundry on 10th and Folsom. Come out to that thing. I'm always there, and it's a really, really good time. So I also bring Magic cards. So if you want to just play me in a game of Magic, we can also do that as well. So definitely check that out. The other thing is the instance on Friday mornings. That's with Scott, Patrick from France, and of course the T. And we talk about World of Warcraft. So if you like that game, that's a good way to keep up with what's going on there. And then check out my Twitch stream where I'm playing all sorts of weird decks on the ladder, because screw it. And that's twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. And I think I was going to do more, but I got to go watch Raw after this. So probably no more tonight, guys. I'll be back on Thursday.
How's that new retro overlay working for you?
It's awesome. I tested it out, and it's working really well. So now I just need to actually fire it up and play some games on stream, which I haven't done yet, but I have tested it, and it's perfect. So thank you so much for that.
Delightful.
Playing things like Mario 64 or GoldenEye, which is so fun, by the way.
I immediately started hearing the GoldenEye music in my head. And I'm not, and as much as I love the movie, that's not the music I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the crappy, over-compressed. Yeah.
Just forever and ever. Yeah.
But it sounds overly compressed. And
yeah, it's like the cool synth drums. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the kind of music I can identify with. If you keep talking to me in old 64
we start
video
talking about
game
punk
music,
rock, she glazes over.
But
if we talk about
Nintendo
GoldenEye
64
theme
music,
she's in.
I'm there. Can people actually play that with you? Like, could I download something and like play GoldenEye with you from here?
Unfortunately, I don't think the emulators work that way, but that would be really awesome. I think you have to be in the same room, because I can plug two controllers.
I remember back in high school, we had every single computer in the lab on a LAN network hooked up to an SNES emulator, and we used to play this Dragon Ball Z fighting game from Japan. Couldn't read it, but we figured out our way through the menu and had to select fighters. And,
wow.
Yeah.
Hammurabi says Dill's the speedrun record is sub 20 minutes. Beat it on stream. That is not going to happen, sir. That is not going to happen. If I play that game, it's going to be me struggling to remember if I was supposed to turn right or left, and if there's a guy behind that corner. Like, that's it's been so freaking long since I played that.
Sparky Shocker in the chat room makes a really good point, Jocelyn. The original Tony Hawk for the N64 had a ton of punk rock on it.
Oh my god, I'm getting that game now. That was
you didn't play Tony Hawk?
And the Mario Karts and the Perfect Dark and all that kind of stuff.
You don't get it. Tony Hawk was amazing back then.
Was so good.
Yes, they went on to make 30 more that were terrible, but like the first few were amazing. And the soundtrack on the first one is great because, well, it had Goldfinger, which the song on there was off of Hang Ups, which is the first album I ever bought with my own money.
I played the hell out of that game, man.
Yeah, me too.
That one big jump in the San Francisco where you're jumping like literally down Lombard Street, we would just do that over and over again. Just trying to do that one big jump and trying to like do some insane amount of 80, 12, 60,
friends and I would
constantly
play the mall level over and over and try to race.
Oh, hell yeah. Busting through the glass and stuff as you're like grinding down
the one piece of glass that only shattered into about 5 pieces because I think that's all the system could handle.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Amazing.
It's good stuff. Jocelyn, when we're not just berating you with music stuff that's putting you even more to sleep, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at GISGamer. And I just wanted to say a really quick shout out and thank you to the community for being so fantastic this week. Like, the Angriest Chicken tournament went off completely without a hitch. You guys are amazing. We had no disputes. Everyone had so much fun in the chat room. We hung out for like 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday, and it was just an absolute blast. We saw some really, really cool plays, great players. We just had such a great time, and I had a group of volunteers, and I'm going to tweet them all out. I don't have the list of names in front of me right now, but there was 5 guys that just hung out and Skype with me all day, answered all the questions and just were such a huge help. So thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you people who showed up to just hang out and not even play in the tournament. They were just hanging out to see how it went. And yeah, we had a great time. And like Garrett mentioned, we did the finals at 7 o'clock tonight, so the VOD's going to go up tomorrow.
And we casted them with Ben Brode's brother, Will.
Right, yeah. Oh, man. So Will was freaking awesome. He made it to the top 8 in the tournament, got knocked out for the semifinals, but then stuck around to cast his opponent so that we had a stream of the semifinals. Like, it was awesome. So, yeah, we invited him to cast today, and really he did a great job. We had a lot of fun, so check it out.
And just one more big props to Jocelyn, everyone, because I've been seeing a lot of thanks on the Twitter to all of us, and really, Jocelyn, you carried the weight on this. You really did. Like, I tried to help out when I could, but I have been incredibly bogged down and useless to you. So everyone, just give Jocelyn a digital round of applause because she did a bang up job on this.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yep. However, you can continue to shower me with undeserved applause over at Garrett Art on Twitter. Feel free. Tell me how awesome you think that tournament was, even though I barely really helped with it. New episode of StarCast is out. I'd really like to promote that because they don't happen that often anymore. So if you are interested in StarCraft, or if somehow that was how you found me podcasting, that's getting rarer and rarer that I'm hearing that nowadays. Check it out. StarCast episode 188 over at amove.tv/StarCast. And you can tell it's my first podcast because the name is terrible. Has cast in the name. Just awful. Just awful. And I also wanted to mention, if you're currently a student at Penn State University, I'm going to be on campus giving a talk on Tuesday, April 14th at 6 p.m. Eastern, apparently in the 104 Thomas Auditorium. I'm not sure where that is. I will find it when I get there. But just want to let folks know, if you listen and you're going to Penn State, I'll be there chatting your ear off. So come on by and say hi. That'll do it for this show. Check out our sponsors, Doghouse Systems. The code to use is TAC. It'll get you a free 120 gigabyte solid state drive added onto your already amazing Doghouse PC. We thank them for their support. We thank you all for listening. We will see you all next week for episode 76 again on Tuesday, not Monday, at 8:30 Eastern. But until then, berm and job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!